Chapter 75. Let's go and have a look. After Lin Mo finished speaking, he pulled Videl to find the direction of the breath, and went to instant transmission. ATT. In the next second, the bodies of Lin Mo and Videl appeared on top of a mountain, and in the valley below, there were 4 figures. 2 men and 2 women, 3 of whom Lin Mo is quite familiar with are Gabe, Caulifla and Kaio, who represented the 6th universe in the Tournament of Power, 3 scions. There is also a taller scion, but like Gabe and the others, he also looks skinny and malnourished. The scion of the 6th universe did not bring a combat power detector. It seems that this is similar to that in the Tournament of Power. They can sense the change of energy and judge a person's strength. It is similar to Lin Mo, who judges strength based on chi. Who? Suddenly, Gabe turned his head, looked at Lin Mo and Videl on the top of the mountain, and asked with a vigilant expression. Then Caulifla and Kale also looked at Lin Mo and Videl. The strength is average, but the vigilance is quite strong. Lin Mo smiled, looked at the malnourished Gabe, and said lightly. 19. Then the body jumped slightly, directly appearing in front of Gabe and the others. Hey, who are you 2 bastards? Why are you eavesdropping on our conversation? Looking at you, you're not scions, are you? The moment Lin Mo and Videl landed, Caulifla puffed out her chest, almost lying on Lin Mo's face, and asked loudly. Hey, Caulifla, don't talk like that. Seeing Caulifla's carefree look, Gabe hurried forward to stop Caulifla. It is very unwise to provoke the other party before confirming the other party's identity and purpose. Moreover, the 2 people in front of them can appear without a sound, they must be extraordinary people. Do I still need you to take care of what I do? Don't think that my big brother asked me to follow you, so you can order me, understand? Caulifla turned her head on her hips and said to Gabe, looking like a bum. Yes, that's right, but... Gabby stuttered and couldn't speak. And Kale squatted aside timidly. Tisk tisk, do you want to teach these people? Videl looked at Caulifla with a look of disgust, and asked Lin Mo. Although I also had the title of bully when I was in the 7th universe, but in front of this woman. I'm so gentle like a little princess. Ah, as expected. Lin Mo swallowed and said. Caulifla was originally a female gangster, with a carefree personality, arrogant, conceited. But it is undeniable that as a scion, she has quite good potential. After all, within a few months, I went from not knowing what super blind is to super scion too. Although there is suspicion of Uncle Sai forcibly cheating, but his talent is there. Hey, you 2 haven't answered my question yet, who are you 2? What is the purpose of eavesdropping on us? After scolding Gabe, Caulifla asked again. In the next second, Videl landed a light punch on Caulifla's face. Caulifla's body immediately flew upside down and plunged heavily into the stone rock. Twittering, it's so annoying. Videl clapped his hands and said with disdain. Forward. Lin Mo looked at Videl, this little girl is not usually that kind of violent person. Why did you suddenly attack Caulifla so simply today? Sister, are you okay? Sister. Kale quickly ran towards Caulifla. Gabe and the big man were stunned, as if it was the first time they saw Caulifla being beaten. But then Gabe asked with a look of vigilance, who are you guys? Why did you hurt Caulifla? Hey, don't you find it annoying that she keeps chattering? I just want to keep my ears clean. Videl glared at Gabe, and said coldly. Gabe thought about it for a while, and it really is true that Caulifla really deserves a beating, and sometimes he wants to give her a good beating. Just a brief introduction, my name is Lin Mo, an Earthling from the 7th universe. At this moment, Lin Mo took a step forward, smiled and said to Gabe. Earthlings from the 7th universe? Are there many universes? Gabe didn't realize it. Are there many universes? Of course, there are 12 universes in total, yours is the 6th universe, and I'm from the 7th universe. Lin Mo explained patiently. 12 universes. After hearing Lin Mo's words, Gabe's shocked expression was unbelievable. There will be 12 universes, which is unbelievable. By the way, what is the purpose of your coming here? After Gabe was stunned for a while, his eyes became serious again, and he asked. It's very simple, I'm here to teach you to become a super scion form that far surpasses your current strength. Lin Mo squinted his eyes and said 543 lightly. What? Super scion. Gabe's pupils shrank suddenly, super scion. I haven't heard of it at all. Hey, Hey, you hurry up and tell me what's going on with Super Saiyan. If it works, I will forgive you for what your woman did to me just now. Gabe was still in shock, but Caulifla pulled her head out of the rock, looked at Lin Mo curiously and asked. Super Saiyan, although I don't know what it is, but it sounds really super. Do you still want to have an intimate contact with the earth again? Videl looked at the arrogant Caulifla and said unhappily. For some reason, I just don't like this woman very much. I wasn't ready just now, come on, let's compete again. Caulifla put her hands on her hips and said unconvinced. Okay. Lin Mo clapped Videl's hand, then looked at Caulifla and said, I can tell you what Super Saiyan is, and I can also teach you to become a Super Saiyan, but the premise is that you must recognize me as a teacher. What? Recognize you as a teacher? Then let's see if you are qualified to be my teacher. Chapter 76. Caulifla looked at Lin Mo arrogantly and said. It is undeniable that that woman is really strong, she can feel it from the attack just now, although she really doesn't want to admit it. But the guy named Lin Mo who spoke, his energy is so at all, and he wants to be his own teacher, is he really overconfident? Oh? I'm not qualified to be your teacher, do you need to try? Lin Mo smiled suddenly, and asked lightly. With his current strength, Hitt, the strongest killer in the 6th universe, would have to stand aside, if it wasn't for the reputation and skills rewarded by the system. I wouldn't come to teach an arrogant guy like Caulifla. Humph. Then you have to be careful, because my fists are very heavy, be careful not to hit your fragile body with one punch. Caulifla raised the corner of her mouth and said arrogantly. After finishing speaking, he jumped and attacked Lin Mo. Headed da. Caulifla yelled while punching, although the speed of punching was very fast, but she couldn't touch Lin Mo at all. And in the eyes of others, Lin Mo didn't move at all, just stood there like a wooden stake. But Caulifla just can't hit Lin Mo. What's going on? What the hell is this guy doing? Caulifla frowned, thinking with some astonishment. He obviously stood there motionless, but he just couldn't hit him. It's almost like a haunted. Good, so strong, although I feel that his energy is average and he is not moving at all, but standing there is like an insurmountable mountain, making people breathless. Gabe's pupils tightened, and he clenched his fists tightly and said. I've never felt this depressed feeling before. What's wrong with you, Captain Gabe? Saiyan, the tall man behind him, seemed to see Gabe's fear, and asked. Good. What a strong guy. Gabe murmured in a daze. Although I don't know how to avoid Caulifla's attack, but I can't tell how fishy it is. The tall Saiyan said with a puzzled look on his face. Da. Caulifla kept attacking, but still couldn't touch Lin Mo's body. Let me show you my 1 billionth power. When Lin Mo's faint voice fell, he suddenly punched, and the fist brushed Caulifla's right ear and blasted it. Bang bang bang. Then, continuous explosions and roars sounded. Everyone except Videl was instantly dumbfounded. Because behind Caulifla, there appeared a deep ravine that was thousands of feet wide and extended to a place that was out of sight. It is 100 feet deep, and thick black smoke is still rising inside. Gabe and the others opened their mouths so wide that they could stuff a duck's egg, swallowing saliva non-stop, and the stormy waves flickered in their eyes. Oh my god, is this the power of Lin Mo? Gabe swallowed hard, then rubbed his eyes, trying to make sure if it was an illusion. Too strong, just a punch out of thin air has caused such terrifying destructive power. The tall Saiyan was terrified and trembling, if he had 2 more punches, the entire Shadera planet would probably be smashed to pieces. Wow, Kaka, you guys are hiding too deeply. Just now I felt that you obviously don't have much energy, but you actually caused this kind of destructive power with 1 punch. Caulifla was not as shocked or scared as Gabe and the others, but instead looked excited. It's like finding a baby. By the way, you seemed to say just now that this is your 1 billionth power? You are bragging. What do you think? Lin Mo smiled and said. Anyway, you seem to be really powerful. I will forcefully be your apprentice. In fact, Caulifla had long wanted to kneel down to recognize her teacher on the spot, but her haughty and conceited character did not allow her to do such a thing. You don't have to be too far ahead, the little guy over there seems to be very interested. Lin Mo looked at Gabe on the right who was rubbing his little hands excitedly, and said. After Lin Mo's voice fell, Gabe ran directly in front of Lin Mo. Master Lin Mo, my name is Bei, please teach me how to become a Super Saiyan. Gabe directly bowed 90 degrees respectfully to Lin Mo, and said to Lin Mo very respectfully. Obviously, although this little guy is sometimes very dull, he is still very capable of trouble, and directly called Master. Hey, I was the one who recognized the teacher first, you go to the back and line up. Caulifla naturally wouldn't miss this opportunity. Because Lin Mo seems to be really strong. And it doesn't look like the kind of person who talks nonsense. As a scion, naturally, like all scions, she wants to pursue the limit of strength. Caulifla, you were too rude to Master just now, you should teach me first. Gabe didn't seem to be afraid of Caulifla this time, but said directly. Okay, Rube will follow me. Lin Mo grabbed Gabe and Videl directly, and the three disappeared in place at the same time. There is no way, my system only allows me to accept one apprentice at a time, and there is still a half-year interval, which makes me very uncomfortable. And Caulifla and Gabe should have similar combat talents. Obviously, the obedient Gabe is easier to teach, and Videl doesn't seem to like Caulifla too much. So let's see for myself first, whether a year in the spiritual time room can make Bei break through to a super subhuman. When the time comes, I will teach Caulifla and Kale again. Of Zhao Wang, from now on, he needs to accumulate reputation points, because he is getting more and more familiar with the system, so he gradually understands that the role of reputation points is not just as simple as helping apprentices develop their potential and buying spiritual time houses. It's like if you want to perform genetic fusion, you need a lot of reputation points. After taking Gabe away, Lin Mo purchased the spiritual time house directly in the system. The 365 times spiritual time room is only 300 prestige points. In a year's time, Gabe's strength can at least be raised to C-level strength, and then he will be able to get a bonus of 5,000 reputation points. It's a very lucrative business. Of course, if I turn Kale into my apprentice at that time, I think I will reward more reputation points. I'm really looking forward to meeting those great people more and more. End. Chapter 77. And at this time in a dark alley in the urban area of Hertz, the 6th universe. Master Hitt, please help me kill someone. A small man wearing a big black cloak said in a gloomy tone. That voice would be very familiar to Lin Mo, it is exactly the same as Frisia from the 7th universe and Frost from the 6th universe. In front of the little man was a cold man with light purple skin and a long coat. A pocket king with a serious face and hands in the sky. And this man in the overcoat is the strongest killer in the 6th universe who claims to kill with one blow from the front. Hittite. What about the reward? Hitt looked coldly at Frost who was hiding under the cloak, and said coldly. In here, these are gratuities, and there are demands for photographs of those killed. 11 Frost handed over a large bag of rewards to Hitt, and attached a photo at the same time. And the person in that photo is Lin Mo. An ordinary-looking guy. Hitt took the reward and the photo, looked at the photo and said lightly. Then he looked at the black cloak and said coldly. If you do more than 420 unrighteous deeds, you will kill yourself. Don't do anything that is unconscionable in the future. Frost, if someone gives me a reward of gold coins, I will be very happy to take your dog's life. After finishing speaking, the body has disappeared. Hi, Master Hittite. I see. Frost was startled at first, he had clearly disguised himself very well, and then he could only nod his head. Really can't fool the eyes of the universe's #1 killer. But the guy who ruined his universe ship and almost killed himself will soon pay in blood. When Frost looked up, Hitt had disappeared. My insidiousness and evil are branded in my bones, how can it be so easy to get rid of? Looking at Hitt who was leaving, Frost raised the corner of his mouth and said with a sneer in a feminine voice. At this time, half a day has passed in the outside world. In contrast, half a year has passed in the spiritual time room of the Lin Mo system. Haha. Da-da-da, BJD. Super Saiyan Gabe kept attacking Videl, but Videl easily blocked them all. After gene fusion, Videl is equivalent to having Broly's terrifying cultivation talent. Although she doesn't practice much at ordinary times, her combat ability is absolutely super. Gabe's combat effectiveness with Super Saiyan is that persistence is playing. Hey Gabe, your speed is too slow, anyway, Lin Mo has been teaching for half a year. Videl easily dodged Gabe's attack, and then said mockingly. Damn, I must break through Super Saiyan too. Gabe clenched his fist tightly and waved towards Videl non-stop. Think about when I became a Super Saiyan for the first time, it was because the Master threatened me to kill all Saiyan, and then destroy the planet Shadera. Because of his extreme anger, the group turned into Super Saiyan in an instant. But now half a year has passed, although my energy has also increased, but there is no sign of breaking through the Super Saiyan 2 that the master said. It's so boring to fight with you. After Videl shook his head boredly, he kicked directly at Gabe. The speed was so fast that Gabe didn't even have a chance to resist, and just swept out with one leg, bang bang bang. After the body collided with the ground several times, it stopped. Gabe returned to normal in an instant, and it was obvious that there was a huge gap between Gabe and Videl. It's so boring, isn't this guy the stupidest of all your apprentices? Videl walked up to Lin Mo and asked. Aren't you the stupidest one? Lin Mo looked at Videl, and answered with a serious face. To be honest, it is indeed Videl. It's just because of helping her fusion Broly's genes, it's so powerful. Of course, among all his apprentices, Gabe is pretty good except for Broly. After all, it only took one day to successfully become Super Saiyan. Can you save me some face? Anyway, I'm pretty strong now, okay. After messing with Videl's answer, Videl gave Lin Mo a blank look and said. It is good. It seems that Gabe will not be able to break through Super Saiyan 2 for a while, let's train first. Lin Mo stood up and said to Videl suddenly. Because although I helped Videl stimulate her potential and fusion her genes, but she hasn't been systematically trained yet. So I didn't get a reward, and now it's just right to train Videl at the same time. Because Videl has been recognized as a teacher for a year, so it is not counted as teaching two students at the same time. Okay, good, it's too boring to practice against Gabe, I haven't practiced against you for a long time. Videl nodded excitedly. She feels that her current strength is indeed quite strong, but she just lacks actual combat, so she can just hone it. And you can also see how strong Lin Mo is. After finishing speaking, the two began to practice against each other directly. Drew. The moment Videl clenched his fists, white arrogance swirled around him. At that moment Videl's breath changed completely. Okay, so amazing, Ms. Videl actually has such unfathomable energy. Gabe looked at Videl dumbfounded and muttered to himself. Videl has practiced against him for so long, and I always thought that although Videl was better than me, the gap would not be too big. But now it seems that they are not on the same level at all. Hehe, I'm ready. You will suffer if you underestimate me. Videl looked at Lin Mo, who was not prepared at all, smiled and said. After speaking, he directly attacked Lin Mo. Lin Mo smiled slightly, and at the moment when Videl started to attack, strands of silver air waves suddenly swirled around him. He now needs to use the battle against Videl on the basis of Ultra Instinct to comprehend the perfect Ultra Instinct. Chapter 78. Bang bang bang. In the spiritual time room, Videl's attack speed is very fast, and as time goes by, the speed and strength are constantly improving. Obviously, this is where Broly's talent comes into play, growing and becoming stronger in battle. Why can't I hit once? Obviously I feel that I am very powerful. Videl looked displeased, thinking in his heart. It turns out that she has become so powerful by herself, at least the gap with Lin Mo should be narrowed a lot, but now it seems that there is no. Lin Mo is still standing in front of him like that insurmountable mountain. Much to Videl's chagrin. Speed and strength are not enough, now you should be faster and stronger, right? Lin Mo said to Videl sternly. After fusion has inherited the DNA of Broly, Videl's speed and strength are definitely more than that. Oh. Videl clenched his fist tightly and gritted his teeth, wanting to unleash all the strength in his body. Rustle then, terrifying arrogance surged out from the whole body directly. Gabe, who was watching the battle, was blown away by the terrifying breath. I seem to have become stronger again. Videl looked at his hands and said excitedly. At this moment, he felt that the energy in his body was like a source, continuously emerging. There is simply endless power. Your strength shouldn't be limited to this, it can only be stimulated in constant battles. Lin Mo looked at the excited Videl and said. Although Videl's cultivation speed is still somewhat different from Broly's, the difference between the two is that Videl can maintain his sanity while improving his strength. And Broly is very easy to lose control, it is difficult to control his own power. It's just that no matter how long this kind of sparring is, the effect is not as good as that kind of battle on the verge of life and death. Because Videl knew very well that no matter how serious he was, he would not kill her, so the burden in his heart was naturally completely gone. Yeah, I feel it too, let's continue. After Videl nodded excitedly, he attacked Lin Mo again. She really never dreamed that she would become so strong one day. Think about my goal 2 years ago, or surpass my father. But now that I think about it, it's kind of naive. Dad is the world's #1 fighting champion, it's a bit embarrassing to think about it, there should be a lot of people in this world who are stronger than Dad, right? In this way, more than half a month has passed. Lin Mo, Videl, and Gabe are practicing non-stop. Of course, Gabe is the worst one, as long as he practices with Lin Mo, he will definitely be beaten to death, and then throw him a fairy bean. Ding! Congratulations to the host's 6th apprentice, Videl, whose strength has reached the peak of B level, therefore, the host will be rewarded with 8,000 reputation points and the reward skill, Majin Buu's regeneration ability or 0.2 second flash time upgrade. The electronic synthesis sound of the system sounded in my mind. Lin Mo wasn't too excited, after all, as expected, it took so long for Videl to reach the peak of A level, which is actually very slow. After all, if Broly is angry, it is very easy to reach level 5. But now what makes Lin Mo a little tangled is that this time the skills turned out to be Majin Buu's regeneration ability and the upgraded version of the flash time skill. This really made him a little difficult to choose. Majin Buu's ability to regenerate is also very powerful. Even if there is only one cell left after being destroyed, it can be restored again. But Hitt's flash time skill, the time difference between 0.1 second and 0.2 seconds sounds very small, it can be ignored. But Lin Mo is very clear that the difference between 0.1 seconds and 0.2 seconds in flash time is definitely very, very huge. I choose. Lin Mo frowned, it was really hard to choose. I choose, to upgrade the flash time skill for 0.2 seconds. In the end, Lin Mo chose to upgrade his flash skills. Anyway, the ability to regenerate is actually not very useful to him. Because in his own system, he is almost invincible, and he doesn't need regenerative ability at all. As for the flash time skill, it is a very skill to install B in battle. Ask for flowers. After all, whether he is strong or not is a matter of a moment, but whether he is handsome or not, and whether he pretends to be a pen is a matter of a lifetime. Congratulations to the host for gaining the 0.2 second flash time function. The sum of the current reputation of the host, 22,000 points, the current reward skills of the host, no side effects 100 times Kaio-ken, instant transmission, comic version Chi Yuan Zhan, imperfect ultra instinct, 0.2 seconds flash time. The voice of the system rang out from his mind again. I never imagined that I have acquired so many out-of-print skills. Lin Mo looked at his system template and thought in relief. Okay, the rest of the time will be up to you to train Gabe. As long as you don't die, you will die. Do you understand? Lin Mo looked at Videl and said with a smirk on his face. He then I'm the best at it. Videl also looked at Gabe with a smirk on his face, and walked towards Gabe step by step. Wait a minute. Gabe waved his hands in horror, but almost at the same time, Videl's fist had landed on Gabe's face. TCH, where did those two bastards take Gabe? I can't feel their aura at all. After more than half a day, Caulifla was furious, cursing and stomping her feet. Sister, those two people don't seem to be good people, I'm a little scared. Kale squatted behind Caulifla, and said timidly. Hey Kale, can you always be so timid? We are the strongest poor people. Caulifla was already a little unhappy, but when she heard Kale's figure, she became even more annoyed. I know my sister. Kyle nodded quickly. TCH, let me see that BD Gabe again, I must deal with him properly. Caulifla tightly clenched her fists and said coldly. At this moment, a sound of breaking through the air suddenly sounded. A figure appeared in front of the three of Caulifla. Hey, have you seen this guy? Chapter 79. Suddenly, a picture appeared directly in front of Caulifla. The person in the picture is very familiar, very familiar. Isn't this Lin Mo? Caulifla first looked at the picture and muttered something, and then suddenly got angry, isn't this guy who asked people too rude? Hey, are you polite? Is this the way you ask people? Hey? Are you Hitt? Just when Caulifla was about to get angry, she suddenly saw that lavender indifferent face, looking at herself with a gloomy expression. Who is Hitter? That's the #1 killer in the universe, almost no one in the universe doesn't know the character Hitt, a strong man makes people tremble. Especially his name is like a poisonous snake, many people want to see this mysterious and powerful master with their own eyes. But everyone is most afraid of seeing Hitt, because 90% of the guys who see Hitt 523 are Hitt's hunting targets. Now Hitt actually appeared in front of him, holding a portrait of Lin Mo in his hand. Could it be that Lin Mo is the target of his hunt? You know him? Hitt asked with a calm expression. From the eyes of the woman in front of her, she already knew that he knew the target she wanted to hunt. No. I don't know him, how could I know him? After Caulifla thought about it, she shook her head decisively. Because Lin Mo can help himself become the Super Saiyan that he is very interested in, so he must not betray him. At least not until I have mastered Super Saiyan. Because she knows very well that no one has ever skipped the target hunted by Hittite. His name is Lin Mo, right? Tell me, where is he? Hitt narrowed his eyes slightly, and asked coldly. Okay. I do know this person, his name is Lin Mo, yes, but now I really don't know where he went, I'm still looking for him. Knowing that Hitt had heard what she said just now, Caulifla could only nodded and said. Anyway, Hitt heard it just now, and he doesn't know Lin Mo's location now, so it doesn't matter if he tells him. After Caulifla's voice fell, Hitt disappeared directly in front of the three of Caulifla. Hey, why is everyone leaving as soon as they say it? Caulifla looked at Hitt and stomped her feet. These guys were so rude, they didn't even say thank you. It seems that I can still feel Hitt's energy. Kale, let's go and have a look. Suddenly, Caulifla's eyes flickered, and she said to Kale. That guy Lin Mo seems to be quite powerful, and Hitt is the top killer in their universe. I don't know who is stronger between the two of them. Thinking of this, Caulifla could no longer hold back her curiosity. Sister, is this really okay? Kale lowered his face and asked Caulifla. Oh, no problem, Kale, you can't be so timid all the time. After taking a look at Kale, Caulifla chased after Hitt's energy sparring. Hitt didn't go far, but hovered near where Caulifla and the others appeared just now. Intuition tells me that the prey I'm looking for is on this planet, but I can't feel his breath at all. Hitt frowned, thinking secretly in his heart. It is impossible for a person who can make Frost take the risk to ask him to help hunt him down without feeling a breath. What a strange thing. But at this time in the spiritual time room, Lin Mo suddenly froze. What's the matter, Lin Mo? Videl saw the change in Lin Mo's expression and asked. There was a strong aura just now. Lin Mo said. One's own system can be said to form its own space, and no one will find its own existence in the space. But I can perceive the movement outside as usual. The aura that appeared just now is very strong, at least it has reached A-level strength. There are currently only 3 people in the 6th universe who can reach A-level strength, one is Hitt the Killer, and the other is Gods of Destruction Kampa. Another one is Angel Vados. But both Gods of Destruction and Angel appear at the same time, so it shouldn't be both of them. Moreover, Vados and Hitt's breath is the breath of God, but this breath is obviously not. So whoever is around now, 100% is Hitt the Killer. Is it very strong? Videl asked. Mediocre to me, strong to you. Lin Mo replied simply. I know Hitt's methods very well, and at the same time I also know Hitt's flash time skills, and the flash time is longer. So for himself, Hitt is not only not strong, but also very weak. But for people like Videl who don't know Hitt's flash time ability, Hitt is really strong. That's why even Super Saiyan Blue, who surpassed Super Saiyan God, is no match for Hittite. During the 6th and 7th universe matches, Hitt couldn't use his ultimate move, so Hitt couldn't go all out at all. Son Goku once said that if it was a real life and death battle, Hitt might be able to kill himself with one move. And in the Dragon Ball Super anime, Hitt almost kills Son Goku too. That's the horror of Hitt the Killer. Hey? Stronger than me, really? Videl asked in disbelief. My current strength is very powerful. Of course, it is no exaggeration to say that he can kill you in an instant. Lin Mo said with a serious face. No, can't you? Videl's face changed, the guy who could kill him in an instant. How strong is this 6th universe? Then what do we do now? Videl swallowed, looked at Lin Mo and asked. Continue to practice, there are still 3 months to go, and it is only a few hours in the outside world. Hitt suddenly appeared on the planet Shadera on May 1st, and his general purpose may be for himself. If it was really for himself, he would definitely not leave this place in a short time. Good. Videl nodded, and then started training with Gabe. At this time, in the world outside the system, Hitt had been waiting on planet Shadera for 6 hours. Caulifla, why don't we go back? That guy Hitt doesn't know what he's doing, he's been waiting for so long. On a mountaintop a few hundred feet away, Caulifla, Kale and the tall scion were lying on it to observe Hittite. Wait a little longer, I have a hunch that something very interesting may happen in a while. Caulifla said with a look of expectation. Chapter 80. In this way, Caulifla and Kale waited with Hitt for another half an hour. Don't you feel tired after waiting for so long? Suddenly a playful laugh sounded from behind. What? Hitt was startled suddenly, his pupils shrank slightly, and he turned around instantly. I didn't realize that someone suddenly appeared behind me. A familiar face appeared in Hitt's sight. Lin Mo. The moment he saw Lin Mo, Hitt suddenly felt uneasy. That feeling doesn't come from how strong Lin Mo's energy is, but from the depths of his heart, as if this guy is completely suppressing himself in some way. It seems that my guess is right. It really is the number one killer, Hitt, and the target you want to hunt is me, right? Lin Mo looked at Hitt with a calm face, very relaxed. Even after knowing Lin Mo's identity, he is still very nervous. 19 You guessed right, I was indeed hired to kill you. Hitt stared at Lin Mo closely and said. Why is such a guy so calm after knowing his identity? In my killer career, there is absolutely no case of failure. Is it because he is too confident that he thinks he can't kill him, or is this guy simply a stunned young man who is not afraid of death? Hitt. Hitt? Universe's number one killer Hitt. Why did you kill Master? Gabe stepped forward, frowned and looked at Hitt and asked. Because the Master told himself that he is from another universe, and he just came here, how could he provoke someone and ask Hitt to kill the Master? Go away, you are not my hunting target, don't interfere with my work. Lin Mo said to Gabe coldly. From the beginning to the end, his eyes were fixed on Lin Mo, and he didn't look at Videl and Gabe at all. Wow, Lin Mo finally appeared, it seems that there is a good show to watch. Caulifla, who was on the top of the mountain in the distance, looked at Lin Mo and Hitt excitedly. I really hope they fight right away to see who is better. Although Hitt is particularly strong, this is a well-known thing. But that Lin Mo, judging from yesterday's attack, is definitely not a fuel-efficient lamp, and now it seems that, knowing Hitt's identity but not changing his face, it is obvious that he has something to rely on. I don't know who will win between the two of them. The tall scion murmured in a low voice. I think Hitt has a better chance of winning. That guy has never missed a shot, and I guess this time is no exception. It's a pity that Lin Mo can't teach me to become a super scion. Caulifla said with some pity. Judging from the comparison between the two, she still feels that Hitt has a higher winning rate. I won't let you hurt Master. After gritting his teeth tightly, Gabe stood in front of Lin Mo, trying to open his arms. Although he has become Super Saiyan 2, he is also very clear that he still cannot be Hitt's opponent. But during this year, the Master really took care of himself, so he absolutely did not allow Hitt to hurt the Master. Get out of the way, if you interfere with my work again, I will kill you without hesitation. Hitt's cold voice warned again. Gabe frowned tightly, shook his head and said, if you want to kill Master, kill me first. Retire from Gabe, he can't kill me. Lin Mo smiled and said lightly. The voice is not loud, but full of confidence. Master, Hitt is our universe's number one killer, and all the people he targets have been killed, without exception. Gabe turned his head, looked at Lin Mo and quickly reminded him. Maybe it's because the teacher came to other universes, he didn't know Hitt's horror, so he was so calm. Then there may be an exception today. Videl, take him aside. Lin Mo turned his head and said something to Videl. After Videl nodded, he grabbed the clothes behind Gabe's back and pulled them aside. The movement is very skillful, obviously this movement has been done a lot. Miss Videl, teacher, he is in danger. Gabe struggled a few times, looked at Videl and said. You underestimate Lin Mo too much. His strength is beyond your imagination. Although I don't know how strong that heater is, he is definitely not Lin Mo's opponent. Looking at Lin Mo's back, Videl spoke confidently. And the voice is very proud, looking at Lin Mo's back, the beautiful eyes are shining ever since he met Lin Mo, he has decided that Lin Mo is the strongest man in the world. Is that so? Looking at Videl's confident appearance, Gabe asked with some uncertainty. Since Master and Videl are so confident, there should be a way. Take a good look. After Vidal said something briefly, he looked at Lin Mo and Hitt intently. She was very interested. Lin Mo asked how powerful this guy could be in seconds. Did Frost hire you? Lin Mo stared at Hitt and asked lightly. You don't need to know this, don't worry, I will kill you in the most straightforward way, without any pain. Hitt was stunned for a moment, then said to Lonely with a serious face. Very good, then let me see how powerful 120 Hitt, the strongest killer in the 6th universe is. The smile on Lin Mo's face disappeared little by little. ATT. In the next second, Hitt's body suddenly disappeared at a very fast speed, but Vidal was able to see Hitt's movement clearly. It's just that in the next second, when Hitt attacked, Hitt's body disappeared out of thin air. That's right, it disappeared completely, no figure could be seen, and the fluctuation of breath could not be felt. As if in an instant, completely disappeared in this space. What? That guy just disappeared completely. An unprecedented look of shock appeared on Vidal's face, and then it became serious. What Lin Mo said was right, if it was him, he wouldn't even be able to feel Hitt anywhere, and he might be killed in one move. Chapter 81. Compared with Vidal's shock, Hitt's shock was obviously even more serious, because he had thought that he would kill with one blow, and directly used the flash time technique, wanting to kill Lin Mo in an instant. But when his attack was about to hit Lin Mo's throat, that guy suddenly disappeared. That's right, it's like in the eyes of others, the self who performed the flash time skill suddenly disappeared completely. No. Impossible, does that guy also have flash skills? The moment Hitt stood firm, his heart was turned upside down. And Lin Mo's body has appeared behind Hittite. What? That guy actually avoided the past. How is this possible? Caulifla, who was on the top of the mountain in the distance, looked at Lin Mo and Hitt in shock, a little unbelievable. Hitt, who always kills with one hit, missed his first attack today? And just now Hitt's speed was so fast that it was impossible to see clearly. Maybe that Lin Mo can really beat Hitt. The tall scion behind Caulifla seemed to be talking to himself. Impossible, it must have happened to escape once, Hitt will never lose. Caulifla said with a firm face. After all, Hitt's reputation has been widely spread since he was sensible. The title of number 1 killer is not for nothing. It's unbelievable that Master escaped Hitt's attack, and their bodies disappeared almost at the same time just now. Gabe rubbed his eyes vigorously and said in shock. Let me tell you, don't worry, Lin Mo's strength is beyond your imagination. Vidal said with a smug face. But at the moment when Hitt suddenly disappeared just now, she was still sweating for Lin Mo. Because of that completely invisible attack, there is no way to deal with it. It really surprised me that you escaped my attack. Hitt turned around, not in a hurry to attack again, but looked at Lin Mo curiously, and said. After all, his flash time skill has never missed. Once you make a move, you must die. Accident? There is no surprise, because my strength is far beyond yours. Lin Mo smiled and said confidently. And your flash time skills? I can do it too, even stronger than you. What? When he heard the words Shan Shigong, Hitt's body trembled suddenly, and his pupils shrank tightly. Because the flash time kung fu is his unique skill, and those who know his own unique skill know very little, there is absolutely no second person who will perform the flash time kung fu. Not only does Lin Mo know the time-shifting kung fu, but he even said that he knows how to do the time-shining kung fu. This naturally made Hitt a little confused. Who are you with me? It is impossible for you to be able to dodge time. It was just a fluke that you were able to escape my attack just now. Hitt frowned and said coldly. Observing the change of Lin Mo's expression, I want to see if he is in me. The universe's number 1 killer Hitt, I thought it was amazing, but it turns out he's just an idiot with no eyesight. Since you don't believe me, I'll show you my flash time skills. Lin Mo stared at Hitt and smiled coldly. Then the body flashed out in an instant. Lin Mo's speed was supposed to be much faster, and even Vidal couldn't see Lin Mo's figure clearly at the moment of flashing out. After seeing Lin Mo's astonishing speed, Hitt's face changed drastically, and he quickly took his hands out of his coat pockets, ready to defend. In the next second, Lin Mo launched an attack directly. The moment he launched the attack, his body completely disappeared into the space. Disappeared. Has he really mastered the flash time skill? Did he learn it secretly just now? While Hitt avoided Lin Mo's attack, he thought in horror. Now it can be confirmed that Lin Mo has indeed mastered the flash time skill. shhhhhhh. Everyone, including Videl, could only hear the slight sound of breaking through the air, and they couldn't see the movements of Lin Mo and Hitt at all. Okay, so fast, I can't see anything at all. Is this the master's strength? It's hard to break up with Hittite. Gabe looked at the air in front of him in shock and muttered to himself. Originally, he felt that master was very strong, but he didn't expect to be so strong. Bang bang bang. After several muffled crashing sounds, Lin Mo and Hitt separated. Hitt's body took several steps back before he stabilized, while Lin Mo stood firmly in place. Obviously, in this fight, Hitt has already fallen behind. After this fight, Hitt's face became very ugly. This time, I'm afraid I'm going to fall. Hitt thought secretly in his heart. The opponent's strength obviously surpassed his own by a lot, and more importantly, he also mastered his flash time ability. In this way, I have no chance of winning at all. Hitt seems, can't beat Lin Mo. Caulifla and the others looked at the reaction of the two of them just now. Lin Mo remained motionless, as stable as a mountain, while Hitt was shocked back a few steps. It's just a few seconds of fighting, and it's up to you. Who the hell are you? Why do you have a flash? Hitt stared at Lin Mo with cold eyes and asked. He was really curious, how did this guy learn his flash time skill? Your question, no comment. When Lin Mo's voice fell, his body flashed out in an instant. Flash time, 0.2 seconds. Lin, Wang Hao, raised the corner of his mouth slightly, and his body was still more than 10 feet away from Hitt, only to see Hitt's body was suddenly blown away. Boom! When Hitt's body hit heavily in front of the huge peak hundreds of meters away, he was instantly shattered and turned into dust. Then a mouthful of blood spurted out of Hitt's mouth, and he propped his hands on the ground, apparently seriously injured. What? Hitt was defeated in an instant. That guy, what kind of monster is it? The three of Caulifla were completely dumbfounded. That's the universe's #1 killer Hitt, so he was easily defeated like this? If this is spread, no one will believe it. Da-da-da. Lin Mo walked towards Hitt step by step. Chapter 82. What happened just now? Hitt stood up slowly, frowned and asked Lin Mo. Because even if Lin Mo uses the flash time skill, it is absolutely impossible to defeat him in an instant. After all, I also have flash skills, even if Lin Mo's basic strength surpasses me, I won't lose so simply. Do you want to know why? Adore me as a teacher, I will tell you after you worship me as a teacher. Lin Mo smiled, looked at Hitt and said lightly. I just activated the flash time skill to 0.2 seconds, so how could Hitt be my opponent? Although the difference of 0.1 second sounds very weak, for experts like them, even 0.01 second can determine the outcome of a battle, or even decide the outcome of a $36. If he wanted to kill Hitt just now, it would be a very simple matter. It's just that for a guy like Hitt, killing him was too deliberate. His current strength has reached A level, as long as he considers himself a teacher and increases his flash time skill to 0.5 seconds, then his strength can definitely reach S level, and then his own strength will reach SS level. So it would be a pity to kill such a potential apprentice. Adore you as a teacher. You are just a little kid, and I have lived for 1,000 years, do you think you are qualified to be my teacher? Hitt looked at Lin Mo coldly and said. It's been thousands of years, and it's the first time I've heard the arrogant words of someone wanting to be my teacher. It is undeniable that his strength is indeed stronger than his own. But wanting to be your own teacher is not enough. Having lived for 1,000 years, don't you understand the principle that learning has no precedent, and those who have mastered are teachers? Lin Mo was not surprised by Hitt's age at all, but said lightly. After all, I knew Hitt was 1,000 years old a long time ago. What? That guy actually said he was 1,000 years old. No wonder this guy is so powerful, it turned out to be an old monster. Videl said with a look of astonishment. Well, although I didn't know Hitt's age before, he has been famous for a long time since I was sensible. Gabe nodded and said. In the past, he only knew that Hitt was very powerful, and it was already early in the morning. I just found out today that Hitt is 1,000 years old. Then what if I don't agree to apprenticeship? Hitt narrowed his eyes, staring at Lin Mo and asked word by word. It's very simple, because you came to kill me, and I'm a cautious person. If you don't learn from me, I will kill you. After all, you messed with me first. If you were my apprentice, I would naturally have no reason to kill you. Lin Mo spoke very calmly. Hearing Lin Mo's calm voice, Hitt's pupils shrank suddenly. He believed that if he didn't agree, Lin Mo would definitely kill him. From his eyes, there is a murderous intent. Hitt's expressions were tightly twisted together. Does he want to die? Of course I don't want to. I guess no one would want to die for no reason. Especially someone like him who has lived for 1,000 years cherishes his life even more. But I am also the number one killer of the universe, so it would be too embarrassing to accept a kid in his 20s as a teacher. After 10 seconds, Hitt spoke again, what can I learn from you as my teacher? A lot, at least much stronger than your 0.1 flash time power. Lin Mo spoke very simply. Because in the spiritual time room, when Gabe broke through Super Saiyan 2, the system rewarded a time-related ability. And this kind of energy is very suitable for use in conjunction with flash time power. If Hitt is a teacher, I don't mind teaching him. You sure? Certainly. Okay, then I will recognize you as my teacher. Hitt gritted his teeth and nodded. It wasn't Lin Mo's verbal check that attracted him. But now my life is in Lin Mo's hands and I just don't want to die yet. Compared with fame and fate, he decisively chose the latter. Very good, this is a meeting gift, and your injuries will recover immediately after eating. After the injury recovers, you can go. Lin Mo threw a fairy bean to Hitt, and said lightly. Asking for flowers. What? You mean I can go? Hitt took the fairy beans and looked at Lin Mo in a daze. Didn't this guy let himself be his apprentice? Why did you suddenly let yourself go now? Lin Mo is also very helpless, because Gabe has just been taught, and the next 6 months will be a buffer period. So I can't teach Hitt, I can only wait half a year later. That's right, after half a year, I will naturally go to Zi, to teach you about the ability of time. Lin Mo nodded and said. Will you find me then? Hitt asked tentatively. After all, a universe is huge. If you hide your aura, it will be difficult to find it. Don't worry, I can find you unless you are dead. His own system has the ability to lock the target, even if Hitt goes to other universes, he can find him. Not to mention the mere 6th universe. Boom boom. After Hitt ate the fairy beans, all the injuries on his body were healed. Is it really cured? It's a miracle. Hitt looked at his body, and it was all healed. After half a year, I will return to this place to wait for you again. After Hitt finished speaking, his body disappeared in front of everyone in a flash. At this time, Gabe and the others seemed to react. Oh my god! Such an arrogant hitter, he actually thinks the teacher is his teacher. Gabe feels like a dream. Hitt is the well-deserved number one master in the universe, and a master naturally has the arrogance of a master. Unexpectedly, he compromised like his master, who is the master, and defeated Hitt with one blow. Caulifla and the others, the shock is simply indescribable. The shocked heart could not be calmed down for a long time. At this moment, in Caulifla's heart, the only thought is that she must recognize her teacher and let Lin Mo teach herself. I must become as strong as Lin Mo. After Hitt left, Caulifla and Kyle jumped off the mountain and appeared in front of Lin Mo. Chapter 83. Wow, Lin Mo, you are too strong, aren't you? Even Hitt was defeated by you. And it was defeated in an instant. Caulifla dragged her chin with both fists, her eyes twinkled with little stars of admiration. Although she is very proud and self-righteous most of the time, as a scion, besides wanting to become stronger, she also naturally admires the strong. In the past, Hitt was regarded as the top powerhouse in his own eyes, but now Lin Mo defeated Hitt easily, and he is regarded as the peerless powerhouse among the powerhouses. Lin Mo, hurry up and teach me how to become a Super Zanya. After becoming Super Saiyan, can I be as strong as you? Caulifla was so excited that she was chirping like a sparrow. That Caulifla, after becoming a Super Saiyan, is indeed very strong, but there is still a huge difference between her and her master. Looking at Caulifla, who was chattering, Gable pulled Caulifla's arm and said. I'm afraid that Caulifla's chattering will upset the master. Is that the form you suddenly took on? The one with golden 19 flames and lightning? Caulifla pointed the finger at Gabe and asked quickly. Although there is a big gap between Gabe, Hitt and Lin Mo just now, but that form seems to be quite strong. Ah, yes, that is Super Saiyan 2, at the beginning, you have to learn to become Super Saiyan first and then train hard to become Super Saiyan. As Gabe spoke, his eyes flicked to Videl. Speaking of the word hard work, the scene of being violently beaten by Videl comes to mind. It doesn't matter, Lin Mo, teach me to become a Super Saiyan quickly, I'm already itching all over my body. Caulifla said to Lin Mo hurriedly like a lunatic. Videl's face was full of anger, he really wanted to slap this annoying guy away. Gabe, teach them too to become Super Saiyan, I will come back to you in a year. Lin Mo looked at Gabe and said. Yes, Master. Gabe quickly nodded respectfully. Hey? Let Gabe teach us, what do you mean? Caulifla looked puzzled, isn't this guy going to teach himself? Lin Mo grabbed Videl's hand, and after a few swayings, they completely disappeared in front of Gabe and the others. I can't feel the breath at all. The reason why Lin Mo asked Gabe to teach them to become Super Saiyan is very simple. The stronger they improve during this year, the rewards from the system will be richer after he teaches them to become stronger. If they become Super Saiyan 2 within 1 year, you can reward them with 8,000 prestige points if you let them break through again. As for Kale, if she can control her aura, she can directly reach the level of A rank. Lin Mo, where are we going now? Videl and Lin Mo flew in the air, looked at Lin Mo and asked. Go and greet the guy who hired someone to kill me first, then we can have fun in the 6th universe. After all, the 6th universe is very big, we can go to many places to play, and we will go to Hitt in half a year. Lin Mo had already made plans in his heart. After half a year, I might reach the SS level in my own time. I don't know at that time, compared with Angel, who is stronger and who is weaker. Videl just nodded, since Lin Mo has already made up his mind, he has no opinion. At this time, Frost was very low-key. Before I received the news that Hitt had killed that person, I was still cautious. After all, the person who can destroy his own universe spaceship without his own awareness is definitely not an ordinary person. At this time, on a street on the planet Hertz, Frost was wandering leisurely in a black cloak. At this time, he dare not go directly to the headquarters of their peacekeeping force. Although he believed in Hitt's strength, his vigilance told him that he should wait for the news that the guy was killed before going back by himself. Hey, how did the dignified Captain Frost end up in such a mess? Suddenly, 2 figures appeared in front of him accompanied by Yo-Yo's mocking sound. That voice is so familiar. 2 are like a nightmare. You, how is it possible? How could you escape from Hitt's hands? Frost looked up and saw Lin Mo. The man he had hired Hitt to kill. Escape? You are so good at joking, Hitt's strength is not qualified to let me escape. Lin Mo shook his head gently, and said to Frost. No. Impossible, Hitt is the universe's #1 killer, and he has never missed a shot. Frost's pupils suddenly dilated, and his head shook like a rattle. Although I was very cautious, I didn't go back to the headquarters of the peacekeeping force. But from the bottom of his heart, he believed in Hitt's strength very, very much, because Hitt's hunting plan had never failed. No. Impossible, how could Hitt miss? You lied to me, Hitt must have paid you to let 930 go on purpose. You all want to get rid of me together, it must be like this. Frost was obviously a very nervous person and started yelling at Lin Mo. It's like I can't stand the blow all of a sudden and I'm going crazy. It's just that in the depths of Frost's pupils, it is very clear, and there is also a cold killing intent shining. Please, let me go. I will never dare to plunder other planets again, please forgive me this time. Frost plopped down and knelt down in front of Lin Mo, begging for mercy with a crying voice. Acting is called lifelike, and pretending is called image. If I didn't know what kind of person you are, maybe I would really be conquered by your acting skills. Looking at Frost who was kneeling on the ground and weeping bitterly, Lin Mo said lightly. This insidious guy is far more insidious than Frisia. Frisia is a real villain, and this guy is a sanctimonious hypocrite. In that case, go to hell. Frost's eyes froze, and he roared out directly. Chapter 84. The moment the cold roar fell, the tail behind Frost directly stabbed towards Lin Mo like a sharp blade. And at the end of the tail, there is a thin silver needle, which is covered with poison. No matter how strong the opponent is, as long as he is stabbed by this poisonous needle, he will immediately become unconscious. At that time, they will be reduced to lambs waiting to be slaughtered. So when I deal with many opponents stronger than myself, I use this trick. And it's tried and tested. Successful. Seeing that his tail was almost 1 centimeter closer, a triumphant smile appeared on Frost's face. This distance, and without precautions, no one can escape at all. E.t. The poisonous needle directly pierced Lin Mo's forehead, but instead of being happy, Frost's face turned pale in an instant. Because what his poisonous needle pierced was not Lin Mo's body, but Lin Mo's remnant. Day. In the next second, Lin Mo grabbed Frost's tail in his hand. Isn't this method too insidious? Lin Mo smiled, looked at Frost and said. Certainly, hateful thing, unless you kill me now, I will never let you go. Gritting his teeth tightly, Frost said viciously to Lin Mo. It was completely two extremes from the cowardly posture just now. Very well, I just like a straightforward person like you. Then I will satisfy you now. Lin Mo's eyes suddenly turned cold, and public opinion suddenly appeared. No, no. Listen to me, I can give you money, a lot of money. Seeing that Lin Mo was really going to kill himself, and feeling the fear of death, Frost was really scared, and hurriedly begged for mercy. It's too late. Calm down. The moment Lin Mo's voice fell, he directly grabbed Frost's tail and flicked it vigorously, sending Frost alive in mid-air. Then he blasted an energy ball casually, and the moment it hit Frost, it exploded. Frost's body suddenly bloomed like gorgeous fireworks. This seems to be the second person he killed with his own hands, the first being Dodoria. Of course, those Frisia's little Lolos killed on planet Vegeta are not counted. Although has a modern soul, BJDJ, but the feeling of killing people, it doesn't seem so bad. Instead, there is a sense of excitement that dominates everything. You really killed someone. Videl looked at Lin Mo and asked in a daze. Although I am very strong now, I never thought that I would kill someone. Of course, it is very cost-effective for this kind of guy to kill a person who can save countless innocent humans. Lin Mo said with a reasonable face. Let's go, kill Frost's peacekeeping force now, and then we can travel. Then Lin Mo smiled, grabbed Videl's hand, and the two disappeared on planet Hertz again. And this time in the 7th universe, the planet gods of destruction. Whis also saw Lin Mo's actions in the 6th universe through the gem on his staff. If my sister hadn't told me, I really didn't notice that there would be such a powerful guy in the 7th universe. The strength of that little guy may have reached the strength of gods of destruction, which is really surprising. After Whis turned off the image on the gemstone, he closed his eyes and looked at Beerus. Shall I wake up Lord Beerus and tell him what happened? After all, the appearance of such a guy in the universe seems to affect the stability of this universe, and even the 6th universe. At the same time, in the 7th universe, two figures galloped past in the universe. Taking a closer look, there are two people, Vados and Kampa. Vados, how many super wishing beads have we collected so far? Kampa stayed behind Vados and asked Vados while eating snacks. It's already 6. Master Kampa. Vados answered in a sweet voice. This trip to the 7th universe was not in vain. In just over a day, I found 2 super wishing beads. There is another wishing bead, where will it be? Kampa picked his nose with sharp fingertips, and said to himself. He has been looking for super wishing beads for several years. It can be said that he and Vados have searched through the 6th universe and the 7th universe. But why the last wishing bead can't be found? Master Kampa, we seem to have been discovered. Vados spoke suddenly. Hey? Found it, are they Beerus and Whis? Kampa cheered up suddenly. If Beerus found out, it would be a little troublesome. Every time I meet that guy, I have to quarrel, and I don't have much reason to be in the 7th universe, it's a bit too annoying. Whis must have discovered it long ago, but Lord Beerus doesn't seem to have discovered it. It was Supreme Kai from the 7th universe who discovered us this time. Vados looked at his staff, and said lightly. In the Supreme Kai world of the 7th universe, 2 Supreme Kais are watching them. Then why don't you visit them? Kampa grinned suddenly and said with a sinister smile. Supreme Kai world. That figure from the back is Master Kampa. The old Supreme Kai looked at the familiar figure in the crystal ball, and was terrified. Master Gods of Destruction Kampa of the 6th universe, why did he come to the 7th universe, and listening to their universe, he seems to be looking for the Dragon Ball. Both the old Supreme Kai and Jebit looked at the crystal ball with horror on their faces, a little unbelievable. Didn't it mean that gods of destruction in a universe cannot go to another planet? And just when the old Supreme Kai and Jebit God were terrified, suddenly 2 figures descended from the sky and landed directly in front of the old Supreme Kai and Jebit. Shocked the 2 of them to the ground. Hey, Supreme Kai from the 7th universe, long time no see. Does Supreme Kai have a habit of eavesdropping on others? Tell me what you overheard. Kampa put his hands on his hips, grinned his teeth, and looked down upon the old Supreme Kai and Jebit who fell to the ground, and asked coldly. No. No, when will we eavesdrop, right ancestor? God Jebit looked at the old Supreme Kai with a look of fear, and said. Shhhhhh, I didn't hear anything either. Old Supreme Kai turned his head away, looking like he had nothing to do with himself. Chapter 85. Humph. That's the best. Since they haven't heard anything, let's go, Vados. Kampa looked at the two Supreme Kai coldly, and said proudly. Okay, Lord Kampa. You too. There will be a period later. Vados turned his head, smiled sweetly at the old Supreme Kai and Jebit god, and disappeared into the Supreme Kai world with Kampa. Phew! Master Kampa is finally gone. God Jobiter let out a long sigh of relief and said. I don't know if the super wishing beads in their mouths are the Earth's Dragon Ball. The old Supreme Kai thought about it and asked. Maybe, even Earth's Dragon Ball huh? Jebit God replied. No, it's most likely Namex Dragon Ball, but Master Kampa uses Dragon Ball, it's definitely for bad things. You go to Namek now and protect Namex Dragon Ball. After thinking about it for a while, the old Supreme Kai said to God Jebit. Understood, Master Ancestor. After Jebit God nodded, instant transmission disappeared into the Supreme Kai world. Vados, let's go back to the 6th universe now. After leaving the Supreme Kai world, Kampa said to Vados. Hey? Isn't Lord Kampa going to look for the remaining super wishing beads? Vados asked with some surprise. This sudden abandonment of looking for super wishing beads seems to be a bit out of Mr. Kampa's style. Our whereabouts have been discovered by Supreme Kai from the 7th universe. If Beerus knows that I am collecting super wishing beads, there will be some trouble. Go back now, and come back later when there is a chance. Kampa said with a serious face. Giggling. I really didn't expect that Master Kampa would have time to think. Seeing Kampa's serious face, Vados laughed and teased. TCH, talking is really uncomfortable. Kampa turned his head away from looking at Vados because this guy is always making fun of himself. And more importantly, I can't beat her. In 3 days, Lin Mo and Videl traveled around 4 or 5 planets, and it was a joy to play. And at this time, it has already reached the 6th side. Vados, where do you think the 7th super wishing bead might be? Kampa spoke while meditating. After getting the super wishing beads, I must let Beerus taste the despair from hell. Master Kampa, if I knew where the 7th super wishing bead is, would I still follow you around in boredom? Vados just gave Kampa a blank stare. This guy, always asking such idiotic questions. Ah! It's so annoying, I can't find the 7th super wishing bead. Kampa lay on the couch holding her head and murmured. Vados, you said I destroyed a few planets, will you feel better after venting? Kampa suddenly became interested and asked Vados. Master Kampa, you are the gods of destruction, so it's only up to you to make up your mind about this kind of thing. Vados replied impatiently. Hey! If that's the case, then let's go. After Kampa smiled sinisterly, he drank Vados and set off. Seeing the most beautiful fireworks in the universe may make you feel better. In just a few hours, Kampa has destroyed 3 or 4 planets. And Kampa's destination, the next planet, is a planet called Savakana. It seems that in the 6th universe, apart from the more beautiful environment, there is no other function, it might as well be ruined. I'm in a better mood, after ruining this one should go back to eat beef meal. Kampa stood in the air, looked at the emerald green planet in front of him, and said. Something big is coming. At this time, Lin Mo, who was traveling on the planet Vakana, suddenly felt a very powerful aura. It's the breath of God. Lin Mo frowned slightly, and said in a low voice. Only Kampa possesses the spirit of God in this universe. What's the matter Lin Mo? Videl looked at Lin Mo with a dignified face, and asked quickly. Asterisk number 1. We're probably in some trouble. Lin Mo smiled wryly and said. Trouble? Videl was puzzled, with Lin Mo's strength, how could he be in trouble? Listen to Gabe, isn't that Heater the strongest killer in the 6th universe? Yes, a fat cat that is more difficult to deal with. Lin Mo nodded, looked at the sky above the planet, and said. Fat cat. Videl was at a loss, he had no idea what Lin Mo was talking about. In the sky above the planet, Vados looked down, and then said to Kampa, Master Kampa, the human beings from the 7th universe I mentioned before are on this planet below. 11 After Vados finished speaking, he tapped his staff lightly on the ground, and a projection appeared in front of him. The picture is exactly the scene of Lin Mo looking up at them. What? Don't you say I almost forgot about it. The originally relaxed mood seems to be a little irritable again. Kampa clenched his fists tightly, looked at the planet under his feet, and bared his teeth. That little guy seems to have discovered us too. It seems that he can perceive the aura of God. Vados looked at Lin Mo and explained lightly. Apparently, the little guy has sensed their coming. Let's go Vados, go down and change the quilt and teach that, lifeless ants. After Kampa finished speaking, his body fell directly towards the planet. Even if Beerus came to the 7th universe, I have to make things difficult for him, let alone a human being from the 7th universe. I must destroy him, just because I am not in a good mood. Asterisk. Lin Mo frowned, and at the same time as his deep voice fell, it suddenly seemed like a meteorite had hit Lin Mo and Videl in front of him, stirring up dust tens of feet high. Then two familiar figures appeared in front of Lin Mo. One is a dead fat cat with purple skin, and next to it is a beautiful woman with a graceful figure and a good face holding a magic staff. Vados, Kampa. Chapter 86. Lin Mo muttered softly. That's right, the two people in front of you are gods of destruction, Kampa from the 6th universe, and his servant and beautiful master, Vados. Lin Mo's eyes lingered on Vados for a few more seconds, because Vados' figure is indeed too perfect, with bumps and convexities, graceful. The exquisite face is definitely more beautiful than when I watched Dragon Ball anime, and the refined temperament that is not stained with vulgarity is even more irresistible. Hey, your saliva is coming out. Videl on the side slammed Lin Mo's waist with his elbow, and said without saying anything. Of course, no woman likes her man staring at a beautiful woman like this. You actually know us. Kampa and Vados looked at Lin Mo in surprise at the same time. They are absolutely 130 who have never seen this human being from the 7th universe, but judging by his appearance, they were not surprised at all after seeing the two of them, obviously they knew them before. And just now he actually called out their names. You must know that they are gods and angels, how could a human being know them? Of course, gods of destruction Kampa from the 6th universe, and angel Vados, how could I not know it? Lin Mo smiled, looked at the two and said. Hey Vados, what's going on here? Kampa looked at Vados and asked. Maybe Vados knows something about this matter, and his head is muddled now. I don't know Lord Kampa either. Vados also shook her head, wondering how this little guy from the 7th universe knew the two of them. Logically speaking, they have no intersection at all, and it is even more impossible for them to know each other. Forget it, no matter who you are, why do you know us? Just because you appeared in the 6th universe without authorization, and you are still destroying the 6th universe, I must destroy you. Kampa looked at Lin Mo coldly, and pronounced Lin Mo's death sentence with a superior attitude. Didn't Master Kampa go to the 7th universe to steal the super wishing beads? Lin Mo didn't take Kampa's threats to heart at all. With my current strength, gods of destruction at the level of my second uncle can't help me. Not to mention that Angel can't do it without instructions, even if Vados can do it, as long as he brings her into the system, he is still not his opponent. What? You even know that? Kampa looked at Lin Mo in surprise, is this guy a prophet? He just came back from the 7th universe, did he know? Even Vados on the side looked at Lin Mo with some curiosity. Even she couldn't see through the little guy in front of her at all. I don't even understand why he knows so many things. But since you know so many things, it's even more necessary to destroy you. After Kampa finished speaking, he raised his right index finger and pointed it at Lin Mo. A purple energy ball condensed from the fingertips. From that energy ball, Lin Mo felt a dangerous aura. Ordinary energy balls will not have this feeling, obviously, the ones on Kampa's fingertips are destructive energy. Master Kampa, this little guy seems to know a lot of things, don't you need to ask again? Vados looked at Kampa's destructive energy, frowned slightly and said. Humph. There is only one end for offending the gods of destruction, destruction. With a cold face, Kampa said rather domineeringly. Moreover, the confident smile of the human being in front of him made him very uncomfortable. I am the strongest in the universe, the evil gods of destruction, his reaction when he sees himself should be to frighten the shit out of him or throw himself on the ground. But this guy, with the strategizing expression on his face, seemed to have no regard for his gods of destruction at all. So no matter what, I must destroy this arrogant guy. Lin Mo, who the hell is that guy? From his body, I feel a very, very dangerous aura. Vidal seemed to be frightened. He gently tugged at the corner of Lin Mo's clothes, and asked. That sense of danger was stronger than that of Hitt the killer. My current strength is definitely not weak, and the person who can make me feel this way is definitely not weak. The gods of destruction of the sixth universe, the gods standing at the apex of this universe, hold the right to destroy any planet at will. Lin Mo explained lightly. What? Is it so powerful? After hearing Lin Mo's words, Vidal's face changed suddenly. No wonder I made myself feel so dangerous, it turned out to be the strongest god in the sixth universe. So. Lin Mo smiled and said flatly. The current compa is indeed very average, but it is a bit tricky to destroy the energy. Oh? You actually said that gods of destruction is average. It seems that you are not ordinary arrogant. Lin Mo's voice was not deliberately lowered, so Compa could hear it naturally. And hear it clearly. So when Compa heard this, he suddenly grinned and showed a weak smile. Apparently, Compa is already mad. Hundreds of millions of years, no human has ever talked to me like this. At the same time as Compa's voice fell, the energy ball in his hand suddenly became bigger. Obviously, to destroy Lin Mo. Even Vados couldn't help but look at Lin Mo, this human being is really different from other people. Even gods of destruction is not in the eye. It's okay, there is a first time for everything, and you will get used to it slowly. Lin Mo didn't take Compa's threats seriously at all. Shrugged, said with a relaxed face. In this case, let's destroy 5.7. Destroy. When Compa's cold voice fell, the destructive energy instantly shot towards Lin Mo. The speed is extremely fast, almost in the blink of an eye. As long as it is hit by the destructive ability, there will be no dregs left in an instant, and it will disappear into the universe directly. DBU. Just when the destructive power was about to hit Lin Mo's body disappeared like a ghost. The mountain behind Lin Mo was directly hit by the destructive energy, turning into purple light spots, and then disappeared without a trace. What? Was it hidden? At that moment, Compa was shocked. This is definitely the first time I have missed. Chapter 87. Why is Master Compa so violent? Suddenly, a cold voice came from behind him, and Compa turned his head quickly. Gritting his teeth tightly, this guy's speed is so fast, he dodged his own attack in an instant. This really surprised him, he had never seen a human being who could evade his attack. And Vados is smiling, obviously Lin Mo's speed is very average in her eyes. Because Vados' eyes have been on Lin Mo. It turns out that you have some skills, no wonder you dare to be so arrogant in front of gods of destruction. Compa took another look at Lin Mo, this guy seems to be much stronger than he imagined. But this time, can you still escape? Compa raised the tip of his index finger directly and gently, and suddenly purple energy balls as dense as raindrops appeared in the sky. Instantly wrapped Lin Mo in it. Looking at the raindrop-like destructive energy ball, Lin Mo's face remained unchanged, and he still possessed Ultra Instinct and Instant Transmission. So Compa's stuff doesn't pose much of a threat to me. Lord Compa, how about we make a deal? Lin Mo said suddenly. After all, it is gods of destruction, if you cannot do it, it is better not to do it for the time being. If he wins 110, he loses face, if he loses his life, it's not worth it. Trade. When he heard the word trade, Compa seemed to be interested. Tell me the story. Master Compa should have several super wishing beads in his hands. Lin Mo asked with a smirk. So what? Compa frowned and asked. I have delicacies that you have never tasted before, can I make a deal with you, exchange your super wishing beads for my delicacies? After finishing speaking, Lin Mo directly took out several items, such as sausage, instant noodles, vacuum tamagoyaki, octopus balls, tempura, etc. There are about a dozen packs. Food. You want to exchange this kind of thing with me for super wishing beads, do you think I'm stupid? Compa looked at the things in Lin Mo's hand, and broke out directly. 7th, it's absolutely impossible for a garbage universe like the universe to have delicious food. Actually, I really want to say, yes. Lin Mo nodded solemnly. Cut, you hateful thing, dare to disrespect gods of destruction again and again, I will never forgive you this time. The end of the deal with gods of destruction is that what's mine is mine, and what's yours is mine. Compa raised an evil arc at the corner of his mouth, and directly attacked Lin Mo. In fact, he is still very interested in the so-called food in Lin Mo's hands. That's why he didn't attack with destructive energy. It would be a pity if it was really good food and it was destroyed. What a speed! Seeing Compa rushing over suddenly, Lin Mo was a little surprised. Originally, he thought that Compa, a second-rate gods of destruction, should have mediocre strength. After all, in the Dragon Ball Super comics, Compa's performance in the gods of destruction battle was too poor. But when he really faced Compa, he discovered the horror of gods of destruction. Although Compa's body is a little fat, but the speed is surprisingly fast. He appeared in front of Lin Mo almost instantly, and greeted Lin Mo with a fist the size of a sandbag directly on Lin Mo's chest. Okay, let me see how powerful the gods of destruction are. The corner of Lin Mo's mouth raised, and he didn't dodge with flash time and ultra instinct, but folded his arms in front of his chest, ready to resist the fist of gods of destruction, Compa. In the next second, Compa's fist hit Lin Mo's checked arms directly. At this moment, Lin Mo felt that he was a little overweight, because Compa's punch directly shocked him, and he felt like his internal organs had been displaced. A sweetness welled up in his throat and Lin Mo swallowed it back forcibly. But the body flew out like an arrow from the string. Bang bang bang! His body smashed into dozens of giant peaks, and Lin Mo thrust his hands into the ground to buffer the terrifying force. Even so, Lin Mo's body scraped the ground and retreated thousands of feet before stopping. What a terrifying power! I underestimated the power of gods of destruction. Lin Mo stood up slowly, rubbed his chest, and gritted his teeth. Then quickly took out a fairy bean and ate it. The pain disappeared instantly. I remember that Son Goku said in the theatrical version of Dragon Ball Super Broly, that Super Saiyan's full power Broly should be stronger than Beerus, which is completely nonsense. Judging from this situation, Son Goku doesn't know how strong Beerus is, or Beerus has never gone all out. ATT. Lin Mo flashed his body and appeared in front of Compa again. Oh! It really shocked me to be able to resist my punch. Looking at Lin Mo who was almost intact after being punched by him, a look of shock flashed in Compa's eyes. Who the hell is this guy? He is obviously just a human being, that is, he can resist the attack of gods of destruction. To be honest, I also underestimated the strength of gods of destruction, so now I will go all out. Lin Mo suddenly straightened his face and said to Compa. To be honest, Compa's power made me feel the excitement. This feeling never appeared when Broly was fighting. Go all out? Do you think you can take on gods of destruction if you get away with a punch? I'll tell you right now, there is still a long way to go. There is an insurmountable gap between man and God. After Compa finished speaking, he attacked Lin Mo again. This time it's clear that Compa's strength has become stronger and faster. Lin Mo also put up all his energy to deal with Compa's attack with all his strength. Bang bang bang! The two kept colliding, and the entire Hertz planet began to shake violently, crumbling. As if it could be destroyed at any time. Flash time skill. The second Lin Mo's deep voice fell, his body disappeared directly, and when he appeared next time, he was already behind Compa, and punched the back of Compa's head. ATT. But before Lin Mo hit Compa, Compa's body suddenly disappeared. When it appeared again, it was already behind Lin Mo. He also bombarded Lin Mo without any hesitation, obviously a killer, mercilessly. Lin Mo's body suddenly disappeared, leaving Compa's fist empty. SHHHHHH. Then the bodies of the two kept appearing and disappearing, for more than a dozen rounds, neither of them hit anyone. Okay, so amazing. Vidal's jaw almost dropped to the ground in surprise, even when Lin Mo and Broly were fighting, he wasn't that strong. How could that fat cat, gods of destruction, be so strong? Even though he was fat, he struggled to walk, but he fought so fast and was very agile. Hey, that little guy is really good. It looks like Master Compa is going to use his full strength. Vados looked at the battle between Lin Mo and Compa, and said in surprise. It has indeed been a long time since humans can reach this level. What? You mean he hasn't pulled out all the stops? Hearing Vados' words, Vidal swallowed and asked quickly. It's so difficult for Lin Mo to cope with it without using all his strength. If he used all his strength, wouldn't Lin Mo be about to lose? Ho 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 ho, it's natural, Mr. Kampa is gods of destruction, don't think gods of destruction is too simple. Vados covered his mouth with a small smile and said. Although that human is very strong, but if this is his peak, then he is not the opposite of Lord Kampa at all. Bang bang bang. Just as Vados' voice fell, Lin Mo's body was thrown out by Kampa's punch, and he stopped after colliding with the ground several times. At this moment, the corners of Lin Mo's mouth were already stained with bright red blood. Cough cough. Lin Mo propped his hands on the ground, his whole body was shaking violently. Not out of fear, but out of excitement. Haha, is this a real life and death battle? It feels like every cell in your body is burning, it's such a wonderful feeling. Lin Mo stood up slowly, with an excited smile on his face. The powerful power of Kampa made me feel an unparalleled sense of excitement. Although I have fought against apprentices such as Sun Gohan, Vegeta and Broly before to suppress their strength. But there is no way to compare that feeling with now. It's exactly like the difference between actual combat and talking on paper. Only in this kind of battle can one learn combat experience and make oneself stronger. Come again! Lin Mo roared and directly attacked Kampa. Bang bang bang! The fists of the two kept colliding, and Lin Mo was obviously different from Kampa in terms of strength. After every collision, Lin Mo will take several steps backwards. What should we do? If this continues, Lin Mo will definitely lose, maybe even be killed. Videl stomped her feet anxiously, but in a fight of this level, she really couldn't help right now. At this moment, her determination to be super strong once again swelled infinitely. Because she didn't want to stand helplessly watching Lin Mo being bullied at such a time. I should have fought with him. It seems that the winner will be decided soon. At this time, Vados suddenly spoke. At the same time as Vados' voice fell, Lin Mo's body flew out again and hit the mountain not far away. The base hang peak shattered at the sound, ATT. With a flash of his body, Videl appeared directly in front of Lin Mo and helped Lin Mo up. Lin Mo, are you okay? That guy is a bit too strong, let's fight together, we can definitely beat him. After Videl finished speaking, white flames erupted from his body instantly. The strength of the B-level peak is fully revealed. There is still a big gap between you and gods of destruction. You can't help in this kind of battle. Trust me, just wait and see. Lin Mo patted Videl's shoulder and said with a smile. Although the body is covered with scars, but the smile is very confident. Oh? It's surprising that he can still get up. A look of surprise flashed across Kampa's face. Ask for flowers. After being attacked so many times by himself, he can still stand up, this guy is indeed a bit unusual. Of course, if you can't get up, how can you knock you down? Lin Mo's complexion has not changed a little from when he first started fighting, he is still very confident and calm. At this time, if you have to speak quickly, then I will kill you without hesitation. After Kampa finished speaking, purple flames suddenly surrounded his body. The breath of God has increased a bit again. Kill me? You don't have that ability. Lin Mo clenched his fists tightly, frowned, and blue veins appeared on Lin Mo's arms like wriggling little snakes. Kaio-ken, 50 times. Then, a deep roar erupted from Lin Mo's body. In an instant, a crimson arrogance erupted from Lin Mo's body, and that crimson arrogance shot straight into the sky. And Lin Mo's aura suddenly soared at that moment. It's so strong, Lin Mo's chi seems to fill the entire universe. Videl looked at Lin Mo in shock at this time, his black hair stood up high. The facial features are ferocious, as if suffering some kind of pain. And his body almost swelled in a circle. Of course, Lin Mo didn't show such a ferocious expression at this time because of the pain, but because after casting Kaio-ken 50 times, the energy was too terrifying. It's really hard to get used to it for a while. Of course, this adaptation time is only a few seconds. Then Lin Mo's body gradually returned to its normal size. It's just that the black hair is still blown up high by the flames, and the crimson light around him is still there. You actually increased your strength so much in an instant. This little guy is really curious. Vados stared at Lin Mo and said with a slight smile. It seems that after Lin Mo became stronger, he didn't care about Kampa's next fate. Lord Kampa, the real battle begins now. After perfectly controlling Kaio-ken 50 times, Lin Mo looked at Kampa and said with a faint smile. Does it seem to be getting stronger? But do you want to take on the gods of destruction with this? Kampa is naturally true, he can feel that the human beings in front of him have indeed become much stronger in an instant. But it is absolutely impossible for mortals to defeat gods of destruction. Just a little bit? Just try it. Lin Mo smiled, looked at Kampa and said. 50 times Kaio-ken, how could it be just a little bit stronger? Your self-confidence is really annoying. After Kampa's voice fell, he directly attacked Lin Mo again. Kampa, after raising his breath, his speed and strength increased again. It's just that Lin Mo at this time has also been strengthened dozens of times, so Kampa's speed and strength are not worth mentioning in his own eyes. Kampa's fist pierced through the void and blasted towards Lin Mo directly. It's just that in the next second, his fist that could destroy the planet in an instant was actually blocked by Lin Mo. And Lin Mo just collapsed 19% of the ground under his feet, and he didn't retreat half a step under his feet. What? Kampa was shocked, his strength just now was obviously stronger than the previous attack. How could it be so easily followed by this human brat? Without thinking too much, Kampa slammed another fist at Lin Mo again. Then, he was firmly held by Lin Mo again. The power of gods of destruction is nothing more than that. The corners of the mouth raised, revealing a cold arc. Then the right knee suddenly went up, the speed was extremely fast, without giving Kampa any chance to react, it directly hit Kampa's stomach heavily. Tay! Boom! Under the huge force, Kampa's body was thrown out, and then directly crashed into a high mountain before stopping. Yelling, the hateful ants, dare to do this kind of thing to me, absolutely unforgivable. The moment Kampa landed on the ground, he stood up, his eyes suddenly burning with raging anger. The majestic universe gods of destruction was humiliated by a human ant over and over again. This is absolutely unforgivable. Kampa's body instantly turned into a purple light, rushing towards Lin Mo. It's just in time, the group version is flashing. With the thought of Lin Mo, his body disappeared in an instant. This kid's speed has become much faster. It seems that Master Kampa can't get a bargain this time. Looking at Lin Mo's speed and strength at this time, Vados is 100% sure that it is impossible to win than Kampa. Because Mr. Kampa has exerted all his strength and speed to the extreme. At this time, the strength and speed displayed by the guy named Lin Mo after his sudden transformation can crush Mr. Kampa. Just as Vados' voice fell, the purple light flew back at a faster speed. At the same time, Lin Mo turned into a crimson light, and caught up with Kampa in an instant. With a kick on Kampa's waist, Kampa's body suddenly shot up into the sky like fireworks. It flew out of planet Hertz in an instant. Instant transmission. Drew. Lin Mo, who cast instant transmission, disappeared suddenly, and when he reappeared, he was behind Kampa. Then he clenched his fists and almost exhausted all his strength and directly hammered down on Kampa's back. At this time, Kampa was a little dizzy from the attack just now, and he had no ability to evade Lin Mo's attack at all. Because even if his strength and speed returned to their peak, he might not be able to pass much. Lin Mo's clenched fists hit Kampa's back heavily. Kampa's huge body cut through the long dragon like a meteorite, and fell straight down. Boom! The moment Kampa's body fell to the ground, the whole ground seemed to tremble violently a few times. A huge crater several hundred feet wide was directly shaken out of the surrounding area, and Kampa's body was lying in the center. Hoo! After defeating Kampa, Lin Mo began to gasp heavily. Then he quickly took out a fairy bean and put it in his mouth. Although my own 100-fold Kaio-ken without side effects will not cause side effects and sequelae to the body after being used, the 50-fold Kaio-ken needs to consume a very, very large amount of energy. Although I have carried out many attacks just now, it only took less than half a minute. It's as if the body has been completely emptied. Call out. Then Lin Mo fell to the ground and appeared next to Videl, and it has returned to normal. Lin Mo, you actually defeated God? You are too amazing. Videl said to Lin Mo with adoring little stars in his eyes. That is the unfathomable gods of destruction, it was defeated by Lin Mo just like that. If he used destructive energy, I wouldn't have won so simply. Lin Mo looked at Kampa lying prone in the giant pit, and said. Hey! It seems that Master Kampa has been beaten so badly for the first time. Vados looked at Kampa and spoke. The majestic gods of destruction was beaten up like this, I guess Mr. Kampa will feel very sorry for his face. I beat your apprentice like this, you don't want to avenge your apprentice, do you? Vados. Lin Mo walked up to Vados and said with a smile. Vados seemed to be taken aback, a little surprised how could Lin Mo know about their relationship? But then he said with a smile, I don't know how to fight. Master Kompa hasn't practiced for nearly 100 years, so it's good to let him have a long memory. As an angel, Vados is more sensible. By the way, Master Kompa seems to have fainted. These things are regarded as the reward for the accessories I just gave, and of course some of them are for you. When Mr. Kompa wakes up, please tell me that the super wishing beads will be kept for me first, and I will go to the planet gods of destruction to get them soon. Lin Mo handed the snacks just now to Vados and said. Logically speaking, you should never keep enemies who want to kill you, but what is in front of you is gods of destruction after all, and there are Angel, Grand Priest, Quanzu and others behind you. If he is killed, there will probably be a lot of trouble, and there is no need to kill Kompa now, because the gap between Kompa and himself will increase. So there is no need for that right now. When hearing Lin Mo's words, Kompa's body trembled violently. Chapter 90. Okay, I'll help convey it. Vados smiled at Lin Mo and said. Then thanks Vados. Lin Mo replied to Vados with the most sincere smile. Although Vados' skin is light blue, it doesn't affect her goddess image at all. On the contrary, she has an exotic allure. After speaking, Vados appeared next to Kompa. After lifting Kompa, the two quickly turned into a streamer and disappeared in front of Lin Mo. Hey, don't look at it, he's gone far away. Videl looked at Lin Mo and kept staring at the direction where Vados was leaving, and said jealously. I always feel that this guy Lin Mo seems to look at that Vados a bit abnormally. Sure enough, men are big pigs. Ah! I didn't look at anything, I just observed whether they would turn back suddenly. Lin Mo smiled awkwardly and said. Cut, the eyeballs are about to fall out, and he said he didn't see it. Man. Videl pouted and said a little unhappy. Isn't that woman better than me in figure, sweeter in smile, and stronger in strength than me? So to speak, it seems to be a bit of a loss. Okay, let's go. Lin Mo looked at the jealous Videl, smiled and pulled 943 Videl to another destination. And this time in space. Master Kompa, how long are you going to pretend to be dizzy? Vados turned aside Kompa behind him and asked. He knew very well that although Lin Mo's attack just now was very fierce, it was not enough to knock gods of destruction unconscious. TCH, you have to dismantle it every time, what an annoying guy. Kompa gave Vados a blank stare and complained. This guy never cares about his feelings. Vados, I'm hungry, it's time for lunch. Kompa said angrily. The battle with that 7th universe guy just now consumed a lot of energy, it's time to make up for it. Speaking of which, it's really surprising that BD is just a human being with such power. Although I really don't want to admit it, even if I try my best, I'm afraid I can't beat him. It seems that this matter must be told to Beerus, and then add fuel and vinegar, and then let the two of them fight. In the end, both sides will suffer, BJDF, and then they will reap the benefits of the fishermen. After all, Beerus doesn't know how to be flexible like himself when fighting. Thinking of this, Kompa seemed to have forgotten about the beating just now, and even laughed excitedly. Did Mr. Kompa get beaten up by Lin Mo just now? What a pity. Vados pretended to rub his eyes, and said humbly. Hey, you were beaten stupid, I just thought of a happy thing. Kompa gritted his teeth, Vados is as annoying as that earthling. Give me my lunch quickly, I'm starving. Kompa snapped. Master Kompa, if you have persisted in training for 100 years and your body has not lost shape, you might have won just now. Vados spoke again. Lord Kompa's physical strength and speed are not as good as before. The next time I see Grand Priest and Zeno, I'll have to sue myself. Cut, that's not the case. That's because I'm not full. If I'm full, I'll destroy that BD in minutes. Kompa immediately retorted like a cat whose tail has been stepped on. And you BD, you didn't help me when you saw me being beaten. I haven't settled with you yet. Kompa glared at Vados viciously and said. Master Kompa, have you forgotten? Angel is not allowed to shoot at will, and besides, you are gods of destruction and asked me to help, it's too shameful. Vados covered his mouth and chuckled. After this battle, Kompa didn't have any trouble with Lin Mo anymore. Because he knows very well that even if he goes to himself again, it is impossible to kill that guy. And the food that guy gave them was really delicious. So Kampa is going to go to the 7th universe again when he has time. This time it's not for super wishing beads. In this way, Lin Mo and Videl traveled in the 6th universe for half a year. In fact, half a year really flies by during training and playing. It's time, we should go to planet Shadera. Lin Mo and Videl are currently on an asteroid at the edge of the 6th universe. The environment is very beautiful, somewhat similar to Namek, but the residents are not the same. Well, let's go. Videl knew that Lin Mo had a half-year appointment with Hittite. Thinking about it, it's exactly 1 year. Lin Mo, who cast instant transmission, appeared on planet Shadera in an instant. At this time, at the same place half a year ago, Hitt, Gabe, Caulifla and others were already waiting in place. Master, here we come. The moment Lin Mo appeared, Gabe ran over excitedly. Seeing Master again in half a year is naturally extremely joyful. Well, how is the guidance of Caulifla and Kale going? Lin Mo patted Gabe on the shoulder and asked. Yet, Caulifla has successfully turned into a super subhuman. And Kale seems to be a bit different from us, because after she became Super Saiyan, she was a bit too strong. Gabe said with a serious expression. After Kale turned into Super Saiyan last time, he almost killed himself, and he is still dominated by that fear until now. Well, I see. Lin Mo nodded. Kale is the legendary Super Saiyan, and the situation of passing the Super is actually not the same as that of the two Brolys. Her improvement has a ceiling, and there is still a big gap with Super Broly's improvement. Master, don't you feel curious? Gabe looked at Lin Mo and asked. What's curious? Her transformation is the real transformation of Saiyan. Super Saiyan like you can only be regarded as a second-rate transformation. Lin Mo replied lightly. It seems that Kale can become the legendary Super Saiyan, and she can be well trained by then. Chapter 91. Hey Lin Mo, you actually said that our transformation is a second-rate transformation. You are too disrespectful to our Super Saiyan, right? Hearing Lin Mo's words, Caulifla became a little unhappy. It is undeniable that Kale's transformation is indeed very strong, but it is a bit too much to say that his transformation is a second-rate transformation. I feel that after becoming Super Saiyan, my strength has improved a lot. I'm just telling the truth, but I don't look down on you. Lin Mo said with a smile. In fact, compared to the transformation forms of people like Kaio and Broly, the ordinary super race is not even second-rate. Because of the gap between them, there is a world of difference. That's the power of Super Saiyan that you don't know much about. Caulifla looked at Lin Mo arrogantly, and immediately turned into a Super 047 Saiyan after speaking. The feeling of being full of power made her swell even more, and she felt that with this kind of power, she could be regarded as invincible. Caulifla, stop talking, the master's strength is beyond your imagination. Looking at Caulifla's arrogant appearance, Gabe hurriedly spoke. That's why I'm going to try it. Caulifla looked eager to try. When fighting with Gabe, this guy always doesn't go all out, so he doesn't even know that he has become more photogenic. Now I have to try it out with Lin Mo. After Caulifla's voice fell, she was directly punched by Videl and flew out. It was inserted tightly into the rock again. Lin Mo. Gabby, star. Videl girl, why did she become so irritable after seeing Caulifla? Sister. How are you doing, sister? Kale hurried over and pulled Caulifla out of the rock. But. Damn it, you actually sneaked up on me again, this time I will never let you go. Caulifla glared at Videl. Forget it last time. After all, my strength is not as strong as hers, but now that I have become a Super Saiyan, I must vent my anger. Come on, I'm looking for someone to fight too. Videl stepped forward directly, and a terrifying breath erupted from his body. I don't know why, when I see this Caulifla, I don't like it for no reason, and I always want to beat her up. Master, what should we do now? Gabe looked at Lin Mo anxiously and asked. He knows that Caulifla is definitely not Videl's opponent, but if Videl beats Caulifla and angers Kale, it will be quite troublesome. What else can I do? Just watch it if there is excitement. Lin Mo replied lightly. Coincidentally, I can also see what Kale's potential is like. Get down on the ground. After Caulifla roared, she punched Videl directly. The fist is filled with golden arrogance, which is also full of power. Cut Videl didn't take this kind of fist seriously at all, and Caulifla's speed was really too slow. Just when Caulifla's fist was close to Videl's body jumped up, and his right knee hit Vidal's chin heavily. Her. This caulifla flew out in an arc, hit the ground heavily, and returned to normal. Obviously, Vidal's attack power just now was still very strong, and it made Super Saiyan Caulifla lose her fighting power in one fell swoop. Lin Mo, Gabe and Hitt were not surprised at all, because they all knew that there was a huge gap between Caulifla and Vidal. Sister, are you okay? Kale hurried over and helped Caulifla up. Bah, Kel, kill her for me, you can definitely do it. Caulifla spit out a mouthful of saliva mixed with blood, and said to Kale. Kale stood up slowly, glaring at Vidal with tears in his eyes. You dare to hurt sister. Why did you hurt my sister? I will never forgive you. I will never forgive you. Ah ah ah. Accompanied by bursts of roars, a terrifying aura erupted from Kala's body instantly. The headband flew out directly, and the black hair stood up high. The veins on Kala's face and body were like wriggling little snakes. Goo. In the next second, Kala's body doubled in size, and grass-green arrogance swirled around him. Ha ha ha! There was another roar, and the breath swept in all directions like a hurricane. Gabe was directly sent flying, and Vidal also blocked his sight with his hands, and under the terrifying impact, his feet began to move backwards. Green beams of energy pierced the ground directly and shot out from under the feet. At this time, Kale has completely transformed successfully, his body has become as huge as Broly, his eyes also have pupils disappeared, and he has completely lost consciousness. Then wisps of energy were directly sucked into the body. The next second it suddenly exploded. Rumble. The entire valley was razed to the ground in an instant with a radius of several hundred feet. But for Lin Mo and Vidal, a protective barrier appeared around the body, and they were not affected at all. Then now, use your blood to sacrifice to heaven. After turning into the legendary Super Saiyan, the corner of Kala's mouth raised a 4.5 evil arc, pointing his index finger at Vidal and said. It's so amazing, it's exactly the same transformation as Broly. Vidal looked excitedly at the opening after transforming into Chuan Chao, and said. Although I don't know what's going on, but after seeing this transformation, I feel that every cell in my body is beating with excitement. Vidal clenched his fist, looked at Kale and said excitedly. Although he could feel that Kale was very strong and he might not be an opponent at all, the excitement came from the heart. There's just no way to stop. Looking at the excited Vidal, Lin Mo knew that after Vidal fused Broly's genes, the two special supercars were interacting with each other. Please order first order, please order first order, please order first order, please order first order. Chapter 92. Go, just take this opportunity to see if you can break through to A level. Lin Mo said to Vidal. Vidal's current strength is at the peak of B level, as long as there is an opportunity, there is a possibility of breaking through A level at any time. But now it is obvious that Kale in front of him is a very good opportunity. Legend has it that Saiyan Kale fights against Vidal who has fused the ancient Saiyan gene. Who is stronger between the two? Aha! After Vidal nodded excitedly, he walked out of the protective barrier directly. I'm going to kill you right now. Kale looked at Vidal, his eyes filled with endless anger and hatred. Then a grass-green energy ball condensed directly from the mouth, blasting at Vidal. Vidal's toes touched the ground, and he jumped up. Instead of avoiding Kale's energy ball, he slapped it directly. Rumbling. The moment the energy ball was shot, it directly raised a high mountain to the ground. Although the strength is so strong that it makes people tremble, it is not so easy to defeat me. After Vidal's voice fell, two grass-green energy balls condensed directly from the palms of his palms, and flung them towards Kale. Bang bang! The energy ball precisely hit Kala's body. But after a few wisps of blue smoke drifted past, Kala's body didn't have any scars. It's really hard to deal with. Vidal frowned. Then he clenched his fists tightly, and everything was in place in an instant. The rubble on the ground was directly shaken and floated in mid-air. Kala's body suddenly flashed and appeared directly in front of Vidal. Although her body swelled 2 or 3 times, the speed was surprisingly fast. Appearing in front of Vidal almost instantly, Xiangqian once again condensed an energy ball and exploded directly. The moment the energy ball exploded, Vidal's body flew upside down, and was heavily embedded in the rock wall not far away. The hard rock wall was smashed into a well-defined deep pit. Ah! This guy's speed and strength are so fast that it is impossible to guard against. Vidal frowned tightly, and said in a low voice. At the moment when Kaio appeared just now, he didn't react at all. Ho ho ho, kill you! A deep roar came out of Kala's throat. With a spread of palms, a grass-green energy ball condensed out of Kala's palm, and used it directly at Videl. In that way, it is obvious that he wants to kill Videl completely. ATT. Kaio dodged and dodged. And the base hang peak behind her was directly blown into powder. But... damn it, it's just like a monster. Videl clenches his fist, but doesn't know how to attack. Because his attack just now didn't seem to have any effect on Gankaier. That's awesome Kaio, just beat her hard like this. Caulifla on the side shouted excitedly. My schoolgirl is really awesome. Master, if this continues, Videl will be killed, aren't you going to take care of it? Looking at the anxious battle, Gabe stomped his feet anxiously. Obviously the situation is very obvious, Videl is simply impossible to be the opponent of Kaio after the berserk. No, Videl is also my apprentice. My principle to my apprentices is that as long as there is breath, you must persist in fighting. Lin Mo said with a calm face. Although Kala's current Super Saiyan, also called Devil Saiyan, mode is very strong, it may have surpassed Super Saiyan Blue, comic introduction, in terms of strength alone. However, the more the transformation energy of this transmigration expands, the faster it will be consumed, and in the end it may be swallowed up by the ever-expanding energy. As long as Videl pays attention to dodging and procrastinating, Kala's energy will soon be exhausted and he will not be able to maintain his current transformation. Of course, if Videl wants to use Kaio to break through herself, then she must face Kaio head-on. Hitt also looked at Lin Mo with some doubts, knowing that Videl is not Kala's opponent, Lin Mo is still so calm? Ha! Kala's aura continued to expand, his body stood in mid-air, and countless energy balls blasted down in all directions. The whole ground suddenly collapsed. Cut, I won't go to hide. Videl gritted his teeth and knocked all the energy balls that hit him into the air. Then she flew directly towards Kaio. She knew very well that if she wanted to break through her limit, then she had to face an enemy stronger than herself. Bang bang bang! Then Videl and Kaio began exchanging fists frantically. Obviously, the distance between the two is too great, almost every time they collide, Videl will fly backwards. How did this happen? She has suffered so many heavy blows, but her strength and speed have not weakened at all, and are constantly increasing. Hitt looked at Videl in shock, and said incredulously. Then he looked at Lin Mo again, no wonder he was so calm. Bang bang bang! Videl and Kala's fists, elbows and knees have become sharp weapons in battle. As the fighting time continued, the gap between Videl and Kaio was gradually narrowed. From the beginning when Kaio was able to fly Videl with one punch, now he can only knock back a dozen steps of Videl with one punch. Ha! Kaio let out a roar, and two bigger and stronger energy balls were condensed from his palms, and he used them backwards towards Videl. Videl also, Qian Zhao, condensed two energy balls in the same way, and blasted towards Kaio. Boom! The four energy balls collided almost at the same time, sending out a shocking explosion, and the small island nearly 1,000 feet sank instantly. Videl was sent flying straight away, a smear of blood oozing from the corner of his mouth. But... damn it, I will never lose to you. If you want to kill me, go ahead and dream. Videl opened his arms and let out a roar. In an instant, a grass-green energy erupted from Videl's body, forming a beam of light that soared into the sky. At this moment, the entire Shadera planet was shaking violently. Finally succeeded? A-rank Videl. Lin Mo looked at Videl whose aura suddenly changed qualitatively, and said with a smile. Chapter 93. What? Her energy has soared so much in an instant. What exactly is going on? Feeling the indescribably huge aura, Hitt's face changed suddenly. There have been earth-shaking changes from just now. Okay, so strong, Videl's strength has reached this level. This energy is completely comparable. Gabe's eyes straightened in shock, he knew before that Videl was very strong. But I didn't expect it to be so strong that it was almost terrifying. What? How did she suddenly increase her energy so much? Caulifla was also a little dumbfounded. She originally thought that she should be able to defeat that Videl in the form of Super Saiyan. But now it seems that even Kaio may not be her opponent. Lin Mo and that Videl, what kind of monsters are they? Wow! Feeling a steady stream of power erupting from the body, this feeling is really cool. Vidal clenched his fist and cried out excitedly. That powerful feeling is like a punch that can shatter a universe. Lin Mo said that he helped him fuse Broly's genes. Is this the strength brought by the fusion gene? Oh! Kale also seemed to feel the change in Vidal, and was stunned. But soon that violent look appeared on his face again. The real battle begins now. Vidal glanced at Kale, smiled excitedly and said. Ho ho ho! Kale seemed to have seen Vidal's provocation, and rushed towards Vidal directly. The sandbag-sized fist intuitively slammed towards Vidal. Naturally, Vidal, who had improved his strength, was not in vain at all, and also punched out. Although there is a big difference in size between the two of them, the clash of punches feels a little strange and funny. It's like a confrontation between a grown man and a primary school student. Boom! But in the next second, accompanied by a low muffled sound, the feet of Lin Mo and others began to tremble violently. Meanwhile, Vidal and Kale retreated a distance of several tens of feet, and the collision of punches formed a situation of equal strength. Good, so strong. The collision of punches shocked even Vidal himself. Even with Kaio, you must know that just now, he was almost powerless to fight back. And at this moment, there is still a steady stream of water flowing out of your body, and that feeling makes Vidal quite excited. Come again! Vidal shouted excitedly, jumped out, and attacked Kale. Bang bang bang! The fists of the two kept colliding, separated and then collided again. The strength and speed are brought to the extreme. Lin Mo and Hitt could see their movements and figures clearly, but in the eyes of Gabe and Caulifla, it was like two green lines colliding constantly. I can't see their bodies at all. Boom boom boom. Every time the sound of the collision sounded, the entire planet trembled violently a few times. Some islands and mountains began to collapse on a large scale, as if the end of the world was coming. Master, hurry up and stop the two of them. If we continue to fight like this, the entire Shadera planet will be destroyed. Gabe said anxiously. As the captain of the guards, he naturally couldn't watch the Shadera planet being destroyed. Don't worry, the battle will be over soon. Lin Mo has a calm look on his face. Because Kalesji had already started to weaken, it was obvious that in the full-strength confrontation just now, her energy consumption was very severe, presumably it wouldn't take long before she couldn't hold on anymore. Bang bang bang! The two exchanged more than a dozen punches again, and Kale was already at a complete disadvantage. This time, I will completely solve you. After Vidal finished speaking, the energy arrogance around him surged again, and grass-green energy radiated from his fists. He punched Kyle directly. At this time, Kale had completely lost his mind, so even if he knew that he couldn't fight this punch, he didn't dodge or evade and confronted Vidal head-on again. The moment the fists touched, the shock wave emitted smoke in all directions, and at the same time Kale's body was also sent flying. Ask for flowers. The body fell directly thousands of feet away. There is no energy to continue to maintain the normal state of Chuan Xiao's form change. Kal. Caulifla quickly flew over, unexpectedly, even Kale was defeated. Call. After defeating Kale, Vidal slowly breathed a sigh of relief, and the energy arrogance around him disappeared little by little. It's such a refreshing feeling. Vidal said still excitedly. I didn't expect that my strength could reach such a terrifying level, which was something I didn't even dare to think about before. Call out. Vidal returned to Lin Mo in an instant. How is it? I'm doing okay, asked with a proud face. As expected, what a surprise. Looking at Lin Mo with a calm expression, Vidal asked. Hitt looked at Vidal, and then at Lin Mo, with a complicated expression. Gabe looked at Vidal enviously and said. Vidal, you are too strong. At the same time, he also began to look forward to what kind of improvement he would have after recognizing him as a teacher. Vidal also said with a sullen face. Yes, not bad. Lin Mo looked at Hitt and said with a serious face. Chapter 94. Shouldn't it be limited to the 6th universe? Hearing Lin Mo's words, Hitt was slightly taken aback. Indeed, there are still many strong people in the universe, and I know this very well, but I have lived for 1,000 years, so I never thought about improving my strength again. Because before meeting Lin Mo, he didn't have any opponent at all, so there was no need to improve his strength at all. That's right, this world is huge, and there are many strong people. Even I am as small as an ant in front of those big people. Lin Mo stared at Hitt, and said very seriously. I see, old teacher. After Hitt nodded, he gritted his teeth tightly and called out this difficult name. A 1,000-year-old man calls a young man in his 20s a teacher. Even if he understands the principle that the master is a teacher, he still feels a little awkward. Even Lin Mo feels the same way. Master, are you leaving again? Gabe hurried forward and asked. I didn't expect that he would leave so soon at 19 just after meeting the master. Well, don't worry, we should meet again soon. Lin Mo smiled and said. Many people would like a well-behaved apprentice, and Lin Mo is no exception. Gabe's character is very similar to Son Gohan and Trunks in the future, well-behaved, obedient, and humble. I know the teacher. When we meet next time, I will definitely not let the teacher down. Gabe nodded heavily and said. After finishing speaking, Lin Mo, Hitt and Videl disappeared. Oh! That BD Lin Mo ran away again, damn it! After Lin Mo and the others disappeared, Caulifla walked over and said angrily. That Videl, I must teach him a good lesson the next time I see her. Hey, you practice with me now, I must defeat her. Caulifla directly dragged Gabe to practice domineeringly. With the goal of surpassing and defeating, that kind of goal becomes the driving force for progress. What is this place? Teacher. Hitt looked at the white space around him and asked Lin Mo, blessed with 1,000 times the gravity of the spiritual time house, I have spent a lot of effort for you, I hope you will not let me down. Lin Mo looked at Hitt and said. Although I didn't develop Hitt's potential, at that time, this spiritual time room with 1,000 times the gravity will cost me a full 5,000 reputation points. If there is no way to make a lot of money, then it is a bit too much loss. Spirit time room. Hitt obviously had no idea about the name. It's a house where the flow of time is 365 times that of the outside world. 1 year of cultivation here is equivalent to 1 day outside. Lin Mo explained again. Oh. Hitt nodded, but was surprised in his heart. I didn't expect there to be such a magical training place in the world, no wonder Lin Mo's strength is so strong. Okay, let's start training now. First of all, I declare that in the next battle, I will not keep my hand, which means that you may be killed by me. If you don't want to be killed, the only way is to improve your strength and defeat me. Lin Mo's eyes had completely changed when he was speaking, and that kind of eyes made Hitt feel that he might really kill himself. Without any doubt. Oh! Hitt gritted his teeth, he recognized his teacher only because he didn't want to be killed, so he must not be killed. But I feel that I have almost reached my limit now, and it is difficult to improve again. Hitt frowned and said. I have tried it for half a year, but it doesn't work at all, it's hard to improve again. It is because it is difficult for you to improve again, so I want to train you, let you grow in the battle to kill you. If you don't want to be killed by me, you have to grow up again and expand the time of your flash skills, understand? Lin Mo said to Hitt sternly. He is very clear that Hitt's flash time skills can grow, and after growing, the time of flash time skills can be expanded. In the Dragon Ball Super anime, after Hitt grew up, he expanded his flash time skill to 0.5 seconds. At this time, even the Ultra Blue Son Goku with 10 times Kaio-ken could not suppress Hitt. It can be seen how powerful it is. I understand the teacher. Chapter 95. And at this time on the 7th universe, Gods of Destruction planet. Master Beerus, you've finally woken up. You've been sleeping for 39 years. Whis looked at Beerus who was lying on the bed lazily, and said. Haha, 39 years? This lunch break is really short. Beerus sat up, stretched his waist and said lazily. In the past, one of my afternoon naps required 100 years of sleep. Then why did Lord Beerus sleep so short this time? Whis asked with a smile on his face. I seem to have had a dream, and a rival of mine appeared in the dream. When he said this, Beerus' eyes suddenly became serious. That's right, it was this dream that caused me to wake up after only sleeping for 39 years, and the figure that appeared in the dream was the culprit behind Shu's failure to sleep well. Strong enemy? Master Beerus, your dream doesn't seem to have a high hit rate. Last time you said that an idol would move next door to us. Didn't it come true? Whis had a teasing look on his face, and said lightly. It sounds like you don't believe me. Beerus looked at Whis and asked. That dream was very real, but it also made me very uncomfortable. Then what's the name of that rival in your dream? Whis asked again lightly. Hiss, Super Saiya, what's going on? Ah, I can't remember. It's like the gap between the teeth has not been shaved clean, and it seems that the earwax has not been removed. It feels very uncomfortable. Beerus said while shaking his head. Beerus-sama's description is really disgusting. Whis said with a look of disgust. Hey Whis, can you help me find that guy? Beerus asked suddenly. This guy Whis is very capable, he should be able to help me find the guy who makes me sleep well. It can't be helped, Master Beerus doesn't even know his name, how can I find it? Whis shook his head and said. You teach you, and at this moment, the gem on Whis' staff suddenly flickered. It's a message from the 6th Universe Gods of Destruction Kampa-sama. Whis looked at it, then tapped the staff lightly on the ground, and a video appeared. Hey Beerus, long time no see, I want to tell you something very important. A guy named Lin Mo from your 7th universe has done a lot of things in our 6th universe. He played against me 2 days ago and the result was a tie. When Kampa said this, his expression twisted obviously. After all, lying is not so natural. By the way, that guy still said that he wanted to kill you, Skinny, and then do the gods of destruction of the 7th universe by himself. As a brother, I kindly remind you, be careful or you will be killed by then. After all, a guy who can tie me, hee hee. Kampa disappeared after showing a sly smile, and a photo of Lin Mo was attached at the end. Cut, that dead fat pig would be so kind to take care of me. Beerus scoffed at Kampa's words, but then looked at Whis and asked, is what Kampa said true or false? Whis. 60% true. Lord Beerus. Whis nodded and spoke. What? 60% true. Beerus was startled suddenly, he just thought that this dead fat pig like Kampa was trying to anger him on purpose, but he didn't expect that there was truth in his mouth. Which ones are true and which ones are false? Beerus asked quickly. He is still very curious about this matter. That guy named Lin Mo is indeed from the 7th universe. He did make some small things in the 6th universe, and even fought Lord Kampa. Whis said lightly. The tone is neither fast nor slow, and the waves are calm. What? Can a real person survive against gods of destruction? Beerus is a bit unbelievable. Although Kampa's strength is mediocre, he is gods of destruction. How could he make a human being even? What about fake ones? After being shocked, Beerus asked again. As far as I know, Master Kampa did not reach a tie with that Lin Mo, but was beaten up, and it seems. Lin Mo did not say that he would replace Master Beerus as gods of destruction. The meaning of. These are what my sister Vados told me, and the news is completely credible. You defeated Kampa? No wonder you are still alive after fighting gods of destruction. Although I know that Guy Kampa has bad intentions, but there are humans who dare to challenge the authority of gods of destruction, I must let him have a long memory. Beerus clenched his fist tightly and said. First, as a human being disrespecting gods of destruction, that is a death penalty. Second, although I don't get along with that dead fat pig Kampa, they are brothers after all, and it is absolutely unforgivable to dare to beat up my brother violently. With these 2 items alone, that human has already entered the blacklist that he must destroy. Then, does Master Beerus want to find the rival that appeared in your dream first, or does he want to find this Lin Mo? Chapter 96. But Lord Beerus doesn't seem to know the name of his rival. Whis looked at what Beerus said with disgust. I want to destroy a few planets and see the most beautiful fireworks in the world. Maybe I can think of something. Beerus tapped his ear with his paw and said. Okay, I'll get ready now. After Whis finished speaking, he went to prepare some dry food and lunch. Half a day passed quickly, and Lin Mo and Hitt in the spiritual time room have been training for half a year. There are still more than 2 months, and they can go out from here. At this time, under Lin Mo's relentless training, Hitt continued to grow. At this time, he has expanded his flash time skills to a terrifying level of 0.5 seconds. Of course, Lin Mo also grew up at the same time. During the fierce battle, the 2 of them almost simultaneously increased their flash time skills to 0.5 seconds. As Lin Mo, who has upgraded his flash skills before, it seems that Hitt's improvement is faster than himself. But think about it, flash time kung fu is Hitt's unique skill, so Hitt must be more familiar with flash time kung fu than Lin Mo, and it is also expected that he can practice faster than Lin Mo. Your flash time kung fu is already very powerful, almost reaching a limit of 743. If you want to break through again, you can no longer rely on this ordinary practice. Lin Mo looked at Hitt and said with a smile. Well, I feel it too. After expanding the flash time skill to 0.5 seconds, it seems to have encountered a bottleneck. Thank you teacher for training me these days, which has improved my strength so much. Hitt nodded to Lin Mo very respectfully, and thanked him. The 0.5 second flash time skill, if you only want to practice it, it is almost impossible to achieve it. So in that kind of training that risked being killed, I broke through my limit. Well, next I will fulfill my promise and teach you something more powerful than Shan Shigong. Something more powerful than Shishi Kung Fu. Hitt was startled, and then a look of excitement appeared on his indifferent face. That's right, there are two types in total. One is the ability to imprison a person for a short period of time. The imprisoning time depends on the strength of the opponent. The stronger the opponent, the shorter the imprisoning time. The other is to be able to, BJCJ, form a space of its own within a small range. In this space, you can move freely, but the opponent will be in a relatively static state. Same as the previous one, the length of the static time will vary with the opponent. There is a deviation in the strength and weakness. Lin Mo said to Hitt seriously. These two abilities, one is called time cage, and the other is called temporary time freeze. What? Imprisonment and time stagnation. Hearing Lin Mo's introduction, Hitt's face showed a look of shock. Just by listening to the introduction, you can tell that it is a very powerful skill. If these two skills are combined with his flash time skills, then the power is definitely not just doubled. Much, thank you, teacher. Hitt clasped his fists at Lin Mo, a little excited, obviously very interested in these two abilities. Okay, then, let's start with the first one. The first type is called time cage. After Lin Mo finished speaking, he began to teach Naoshi seriously. These two skills are actually a kind of skill rewarded by the system, but I split it into two. Because it is related to time, Lin Mo thinks it is very suitable for Hitt's practice. After all, Hitt's unique skills are related to time. I hope that after learning these two abilities, Hitt's comprehensive strength can reach the level of S. At that time, one's own strength can be raised to SS level. Time flew by in the gravity chamber for 2 months. Hitt also lived up to Lin Mo's expectations. In just 2 months, he has fully mastered the two abilities of time cage and time stillness. Ding! Congratulations to the host's 8th apprentice, Hitt, who has reached the peak of A level. Therefore, reward host reputation, 10,000 points, reward skill, the regeneration ability of the original Majin Bu, a year of spiritual time flies by quickly. The electronic synthesis sound of the system also sounded from the mind in good time. Hitt's strength has not reached the S level. Lin Mo asked inwardly with some surprise. According to my speculation, Hitt, who has mastered the 0.5 second flash time skill, time cage and time stillness, should be able to reach S level strength. Yes, Hitt's current strength is at the peak of A level. The system replied in its mind. Damn, it's useless to toss. Lin Mo is a little angry. Because according to his prediction, Hitt should be able to reach S rank, so that he can reach SS rank. Maybe I can reach Angel's strength, but now it seems that I think too much. I didn't expect S rank to be so difficult. Then what kind of strength can be regarded as an S rank? Lin Mo asked again. I have to find a few samples now, otherwise I can only be so excited in vain. Those who have reached S-level strength are, the 7th Universe Gods of Destruction Beerus, the 7th Universe Gods of Destruction Quitella, the 11th Universe Gods of Destruction Vermit, etc. Gods of Destruction, Perfect Ultra Instinct Sun Goku, Explosive Jiren, Ultra Blue Vegeto, Super Blue Gogeta, Super 4 Gogeta, Super 4 Vegeto, etc. The voice of the system rang out from his mind. Are these the S-rank fighters? Hearing the sound of the system, Lin Mo stroked his chin. The level of the system is really clear. These guys, in the excitement of Dragon Ball, are very bloody heroes. Okay, I see. After Lin Mo nodded, the system automatically hit itself. Indeed, compared with the guys mentioned by the system just now, the current Hitt is indeed still somewhat behind. After all, in the Dragon Ball Super anime, Hitt, who flashes and freezes for 0.5 seconds, is far behind Jiren. And that's when Jiren didn't give it his all. It is really not an easy task to teach these guys. Chapter 97. Forget about the combined fighters, because after they are combined, their energy is too strong, so the time is only about 10 minutes. And with their proud personalities, it's a little difficult to get them to apprentice. Even Jiren probably wouldn't recognize the teacher. Maybe the only hope right now is Ultra Instinct's Son Goku. Forget it, let's see it later. After Lin Mo shook his head lightly, he stopped thinking about it. After all, in this kind of thing, the plan cannot keep up with the change. Teacher, are you okay? Seeing Lin Mo who was motionless and thinking deeply, Hitt asked quickly. Oh, it's all right. After hearing Hitt's voice, Lin Mo shook his head slightly, smiled and said. Okay, I will leave everything I can teach to you now. If you want to become stronger in the next time, you need to think about it yourself and practice it yourself. Lin Mo said to Hitt seriously. Although Hitt has hit the ceiling a little bit now, as long as he is willing to work hard, he must be able to break through the ceiling and break through himself again. Well, I understand, teacher. Hitt nodded and answered. The master leads the door to practice in the individual. In this year, the teacher has taught me a lot of things, so I need to comprehend and digest these things by myself. After Lin Mo waved his hand lightly, the spiritual time room has disappeared. I guess I'm going to leave next, so we'll meet later. Lin Mo said to Hittite. Well, if my guess is correct, the teacher shouldn't be from this universe, right? Hitt asked after looking at Lin Mo. I have lived here for 1,000 years, and because of my profession, I am quite familiar with this universe. There is indeed no such strong person as Lin Mo in the universe. Of course, except for the big guy who likes to make trouble. Yes, I am from the 7th universe, which is almost the closest adjacent universe to the 6th universe, similar to twin brothers. Lin Mo explained, but I don't know if Hitt can understand. I see. Heather nodded. So I'm going back to the 7th universe now. It won't be long before we meet again. Don't let me down then. Lin Mo looked at Hitt and said. Don't worry, next time we meet, I will definitely become stronger. Hitt said confidently. Now that I have mastered the growth method of flash time kung fu, and I think the ability of time cage and time stillness can be improved. So when we meet next time, I will definitely be much stronger than now. Okay, let's go. Videl grabbed Videl's hand and disappeared directly in front of Hittite. Although you are very strong now, I will definitely surpass you, definitely. Seeing the direction Lin Mo left, Hitt shook his head tightly. After meeting Lin Mo, I have seen what it means to be strong. At the same time, it is the first time that I want to improve my strength so urgently. Want to surpass a man, not kill him. System, I see that the system template says system upgrade. Will there be any changes after the upgrade? On the way back to the 7th universe, Lin asked curiously. He hadn't learned about these things before, because upgrading the system required a full 100,000 achievement points, which was a huge number for his previous self. But now my reputation is close to 40,000. Although it is not a lot, it is not so far away from 100,000, so now is the time to pay attention to the system upgrade. Returning to the host, after the system is upgraded, the prestige value of the apprentice reward will increase, and the reward ability will also become stronger. What's more, after the system is upgraded, the host's previous apprentices can get corresponding level and reputation rewards at the same time as their strength level increases. The sound of the system came into my mind. After hearing the sound of the system, Lin Mo was suddenly delighted. The increased prestige points and skill enhancement rewards are not bad, but they didn't make Lin Mo very excited. However, the level of apprentices who have been accepted before can also be rewarded accordingly, which is what matters most to Lin Mo. Because the apprentices I have accepted have quite good potential. Broly, Son Gohan, Vegeta, Hitt and Videl who fused the Broly gene. They are actually upgrading very fast now, asking for flowers. For example, if Broly's strength breaks through again, it will be S-level strength, and his own strength can reach SS-level. This is definitely an exciting thing. It seems that the more you find out, the more you will feel the cowhide of the system. Lin Mo pursed his lips and whispered to himself. Gene fusion and system upgrades are probably just the surface of the system, and maybe there will be very, very powerful functions in the future. Thinking about it is really exciting. Lin Mo, what did you just say? Hearing Lin Mo's muttering, Videl asked. Nothing, just thinking about where should I go now. Lin Mo casually said something perfunctory. Lin Mo, I want to visit my dad, is that okay? I haven't seen my father for almost 2 years, so I don't know if he is doing well now. Videl said with some guilt. When he left his father, it was the lowest point in his life. I don't know how he got these days. Of course, it's human nature. Lin Mo nodded, just as he also wanted to see if gods of destruction Beerus had woken up. To what extent has Gohan's strength improved now? If he hasn't reached A level, he can only help him. Otherwise, Son Goku and the others will become Super Saiyan, and he will be the tail of the car again, and he will become Nobi-Han. Soon Lin Mo and Videl were back in the 7th universe. Lin Mo, do you want to go with me to meet my dad? Videl looked at Lin Mo and asked. Let's not go for now, because of what happened last time. Your father probably doesn't like me, Son Gohan and the others. Lin Mo smiled and said. To be honest, I don't want to see that guy Satan, I don't like it very much. Well, I'll go there by myself. Videl nodded. In fact, she also felt that her father would be uncomfortable if Lin Mo went, and she will talk about it later when she has a chance. Chapter 98. I can feel the teacher's breath. At this time, what he was practicing with Piccolo suddenly felt a familiar atmosphere, and said excitedly. Teacher? Is it Lin Mo? I didn't expect that guy to appear again after disappearing for nearly 2 years. Piccolo frowned and said. I still remember when I met Lin Mo for the first time, he once said to himself that he was not worthy to be Gohan's teacher. And in half a year, he will let Gohan reach a height that he can't reach. Indeed, he did, and from that day to today, he has been left far behind by Gohan. Well, I have to see the teacher. It's been more than a year. Let the teacher see my growth. Son Gohan said to Piccolo like a primary school student who got a high score in an exam and couldn't wait for 707 to be praised by his parents. So if you look carefully at Son Gohan's words at this time, he is still quite different from before. That is. Son Gohan at this time, with a long tail coiled around his waist. Well, then you go. Piccolo nodded and said. Bye-bye. Piccolo steamed after Son Gohan waved to Piccolo, he disappeared from Piccolo's sight. Piccolo could only look helpless. If he had allowed himself to teach Gohan during the half a year when he was a child, their relationship would have become closer. However, if he taught it by himself, Gohan would not be able to reach such a height as he is now. Call out. In an instant, Son Gohan appeared in front of Lin Mo. After all, in their eyes, the earth is just as big as a palm. Teacher, you are finally here. Son Gohan looked at Lin Mo excitedly, and then said, your strength seems to have improved again. You have also improved a lot, and you are stronger than before. Lin Mo patted Son Gohan on the shoulder and said with a smile. This guy's aura has obviously been enhanced a lot. It seems you chose the route of Super Saiyan 4. Then Lin Mo looked at Son Gohan's tail wrapped around his waist, and said lightly. Yes teacher, I chose the evolution route of the Saiyans. Son Gohan nodded and said. Because the teacher told me that if I want to become Super Saiyan 4, I have to let my tail grow back. Shenron on Earth does not have this ability, so he went to Namek again, and asked Shenron Palanga to grow his tail. Because the teacher was not there, I went to the Supreme Kai world to ask the old Supreme Kai, and then I figured out how to become Super Saiyan 4. Because my energy is already at the peak state of Super Saiyan 3, it is easy to become Super Saiyan 4. It's just. It seems that the destruction of the Supreme Kai world is quite miserable. Of course, my junior brother Vegeta uncle went with me. Very good, whether you choose the Super God route, the Saiyan evolution route or the Earthlings cultivation route, I support you. And I think that Super 4 and Super Saiyan may not be contradictory, but I haven't figured it out yet. Lin Mo meditated, and then spoke. Super Saiyan 4 and Super Saiyan God should not be contradictory, perhaps the two forms can be fused into one transformation. Of course, this is just a qualification guess that has yet to be confirmed. Well, thank you teacher. After Son Gohan nodded, he said to Lin Mo call out. And at this moment, a piercing sound cut through the void, and Vegeta's body suddenly appeared in front of Lin Mo and Son Gohan. Old teacher. Vegeta is still a little unaccustomed to calling out, but being able to call out teacher is not bad for him. Lin Mo nodded, looked at the tail behind Vegeta, and said, it seems that you, like Gohan, chose the evolution route of Scion's bloodline. Of course, I'm a majestic Scion prince, so I naturally want to practice as a Scion. Vegeta said with a proud face. Actually, you are wrong. Vegeta, Super Saiyan 4 and Super Saiyan God are both Scion's cultivation routes, but the former is the evolution of the blood, and the latter is the improvement of the realm. If you want to become a perfect scion, you have to try both methods at the same time. Lin Mo looked at Vegeta and said very seriously. Super Scion 4 is certainly powerful, the evolution of Scion blood, but if Super Scion power is added on the basis of Super 4, it is probably very poisonous. Is this, like this? Hearing Lin Mo's words, Vegeta said with some embarrassment. Teacher, can you teach us how to become a Super Saiyan God? Son Gohan asked curiously. The way to become a Super Saiyan God is actually very simple, but now I'm a little hungry. Lin Mo touched his stomach and said. Are these two evils so blind? Let yourself be a master here. Oh, by the way, I seem to know that there is a new One Plus Tempura restaurant in front of me, and I heard that the taste is very good. You mean Android 18? Because when I came to this time and space, I let the system lock the position of number 18, but the system couldn't find number 18 at all. Son Gohan smiled awkwardly. After all, I brought some puffed food with me when I left, so the taste is naturally not very good, and the food eaten by those planets in the 6th universe is simply hard to swallow. Son Gohan nodded in response. 4.8 By the way Gohan, I want to ask you something. Chapter 99. Well, of course. Lin Mo nodded and said. The androids were going to be wiped out 9 years ago. Son Gohan said in a daze. How did the teacher know about the artificial man? And suddenly asked about the 18th of the artificial man. Destroyed. Lin Mo's eyes were fixed, and he thought about it. Maybe it was because he guided the future Trunks, they directly killed the evil artificial people number 18 and number 17 in the future time and space. So the Trunks did not come to this time and space, causing Son Gohan to kill the man-made man. Yes, I was too careless at the time. I obviously had the strength to destroy Cell, but because I wanted to play again, I let Cell absorb androids number 17 and no 18. It was also because of my carelessness that I killed my father. After that, I completely wiped out Cell in anger, and the 17th and 18th robots were also wiped out. Son Gohan shook his fist and said. That time was the one I regret the most. I had a chance to kill Cell in seconds, but my father was killed by the waves. So it turns out that the artificial man number 18 in this time and space has been wiped out. Lin Mo rubbed his chin and said to himself. In fact, this is also good. It is much better than following that little bald donkey Kellen. If it is following Kellen, it will be a bit of a gap. Sir, why did you suddenly ask about artificial humans? Son Gohan asked curiously. Whether it's strength or talent, those artificial humans can't get into the teacher's eyes at all. It's okay, just ask. Lin Mo shook his head and replied lightly. Okay, now let me see the results of your cultivation in the past 2 years. Then he said to Son Gohan and Vegeta. Well, the power of Super Saiyan 4 is very strong. Vegeta spoke confidently. At this time, on the planet King Kai, Son Goku is exercising with weights. King Kai is also humming a little song with his pet, and his life is so chic. King Kai, can you hear my voice? At this moment, suddenly the old Supreme Kai's voice came into King Kai's mind. Hey? Master Supreme Kai, what do you want from me? King Kai asked quickly. If there is no important matter, the old Supreme Kai will not contact himself in person. Well, there is an important matter concerning the safety of the Gu universe. What? A major matter concerning the safety of the Gu universe. Yes, Son Goku is on your planet right now? We must not be heard by him, otherwise the consequences will be disastrous. Oh, I see Supreme Kai-sama. King Kai looked at Son Goku, who had been practicing all the time, and didn't pay attention to him at all, and said. Listen well, Master Gods of Destruction Beerus has awakened. In the past few days, several stars in the universe have disappeared one after another, and now Master Beerus is rushing towards the Earth, and it is very likely that he will pass your planet. So you must not let that guy Son Goku say something stupid to Master Beerus. By the way, there are also Vegeta on Earth, Son Gohan's restless scion, understand? The old Supreme Kai, who has always been not very serious, is extremely serious this time. After all, this matter is related to the survival of this universe, and there is no room for sloppiness. I understand Supreme Kai. King Kai replied tremblingly. Master Beerus, has woken up? This is really troublesome. Thinking of those slightly squinted eyes, King Kai felt a chill down his back. There is only so much on my own planet, and it is thanks to him. It seems that I must not let this guy Gaku talk nonsense, and I have to inform Vegeta and the others on Earth. While on Earth at this time, Lin Mo, Son Gohan, and Vegeta practiced against each other for a while. The strength and speed of Super Saiyan 4 are indeed very strong, and they fully possess the upper middle level of A-level strength. However, if you fight Hitt, you may still suffer a little. Today is Bulma's birthday lineup, do you want to join the party? Vegeta looked at Lin Mo and Son Gohan and asked. What? Is today Bulma's birthday? Lin Mo suddenly turned cold, looked at Vegeta and asked. In other words, Broly and Whis will appear on Earth today, looking for the so-called Super Saiyan God? Het. It's really time to come by yourself. Inch. What's the matter? Seeing Lin Mo's big reaction, Vegeta said with a dazed face. Bulma is angry, why is he acting so exaggerated? Let's go, there may be some important people celebrating their birthday today. Lin Mo shook his head and said. Now that we've caught up, it's time to test how strong the strongest gods of destruction Beerus is. Big man. Both Vegeta and Son Gohan were a little puzzled. The big guy in the teacher's mouth should not be an ordinary guy. Come on, soon you will know the big man. At the same time, in the silent universe, two figures were wrapped in a grass-green protective barrier and galloped at top speed. Hey 533 Whis, how much time is left to get to Earth? Beerus asked impatiently. 20 minutes have passed, it's really impatient. You have asked a dozen times along the way, Master Beerus, can't you fix it? Whis turned around, gave Beerus a big white eye, and complained. Cut, are there that many? Only 2 or 3 times at most. Beerus quips. Master Beerus, it seems that the planet King Kai is below, do you want to go down and go around first? It seems that Sion who defeated Frieza is also on the planet King Kai. Whis looked at his staff, and said lightly. What? Is that Sion here? Go to King Kai planet now. Beerus said very simply. The rival in my dream is called Super Saiyan God, and since the Sion on King Kai can kill Frieza, maybe he knows something about Super Saiyan God. In a few seconds, Whis and Beerus fell directly on the planet King Kai like a bomb. Chapter 100. Welcome, Master Beerus specially came to visit my planet, it really makes the humble house shine, very welcome. King Kai was trembling with fright. The cat man in front of him was the strongest person in the universe. If he wanted to, he could destroy the entire universe in an instant. Long time no see, King Kai, I didn't expect your planet to be so small. Beerus looked at King Kai's planet, and said lightly. A place the size of a palm really makes Master Beerus laugh. King Kai quickly wiped the sweat from his forehead, and said to Beerus. Please, Master Beerus, please have a lunch for your face. No need, I brought a box lunch this time, let's talk about it next time. Beerus spoke to King Kai with an orderly tone. It's Master Beerus, I don't know if Master Beerus is visiting my planet this time, what's the matter? King Kai asked tremblingly. The northern Milky Way of the solar system is originally an extremely remote place in the universe, and Beerus generally would not come here. Running over suddenly today, there must be something important. I have something to do with that Sion on your planet. Beerus replied coldly. Hearing Beerus' voice, King Kai's body trembled violently. Sure enough, what he and Lord Supreme Kai were most worried about was probably about to happen. But since Master Beerus had said it, he had no choice but to call Son Goku out. Meanwhile on Earth, Bulma's birthday party is in full swing. Hey Gohan, can Vegeta hear me? Suddenly, King Kai's voice suddenly reached the ears of Son Gohan and Vegeta. King Kai? What's the matter, do you have anything to do? Son Gohan asked with some surprise. What is this guy looking for all of a sudden? Listen to me, Lord Gods of Destruction Beerus has just left my planet, and now he is going to the Earth, and he will beg in about 2 minutes. You must pay attention, you must not anger Lord Beerus, otherwise the entire universe will be destroyed by him. King Kai reminded with a very scared tone. What? Gods of Destruction Beerus? Who is that? Son Gohan looked at Lin Mo and Vegeta with a puzzled face, this was really the first time he had heard of this name. But listening to the fearful voice of King Kai, he must be a very powerful guy. I don't know how they are compared to Super Saiyan 4? Gods of Destruction Beerus. How did that guy come out of a place like Earth? Vegeta clenched his fists tightly. He clearly remembered that when he was a child, that guy trampled his father under his feet just for a pillow. That condescending look made people very uncomfortable. It's just that I was too weak at that time. With just one look from Beerus, he completely lost the courage and ability to fight. Chi, that nasty guy. Thinking of this, an angry look appeared on Vegeta's face. How to ravage my father has nothing to do with me, because in Sion's consciousness, the sense of family affection is very indifferent. But he made himself prostrate on the ground, lying at his feet, and he would never forget that feeling in his life. Now I have to let him see Sion's power. Teacher, is the big man you mentioned earlier the Lord Gods of Destruction Beerus? Son Gohan looked at Lin Mo and asked suddenly. Come to think of it, there is no one else. Yes, that's him, Gods of Destruction Beerus. Lin Mo nodded and said. Maybe we'll have a fight with Beerus soon, so take a look at the strongest Gods of Destruction. Hey, listen to me, Goku wanted to challenge Master Beerus on my planet, but was knocked out by Master Beerus with 2 moves. After Lord Beerus comes, you just need to obey him, and don't think about going against him, understand? King Kai tried his best to dissuade him again and again. Okay, I'm so annoying. Vegeta didn't want to talk to King Kai anymore. Defeating Kakarot in Super Saiyan 3 in an instant, this kind of thing can be done by both him and Son Gohan as Super Saiyan 4. Explain that Beerus is nothing more than the case. After all, he is not the brat he was decades ago. Yo! King Vegeta's son! Suddenly, a faint voice sounded from midair. Lin Mo, Vegeta's son Gohan and others raised their heads subconsciously. Then I saw 2 familiar figures, a skinny cat with purple skin in front, and behind him on the right was an elegant man with a special dress and silver white hair. Of course, these 2 Lin Mo are very familiar with, Gods of Destruction Beerus and Angel Whis from the 7th universe. Humph, Beerus, we finally meet again. The moment he saw Beerus, Vegeta was not afraid at all, but stared at Beerus coldly with a proud face, and said. Oh? How dare you call me by my first name? From this moment on, you are now a dead man. Beerus narrowed his eyes slightly, shooting a gloomy light. In this universe, no one has dared to call himself by his own name for tens of thousands of years. I didn't expect a Vegeta to be so arrogant. Oh? Really? Then I'd like to see how you made me a dead man. The corner of Vegeta's iconic mouth raised, Mo Dezhou, and asked provocatively. Although I can't feel the breath of Beerus, he is absolutely impossible to be my opponent. For myself the form of Super Saiyan 4. I am extremely confident. Very well, it seems that before finding the so-called Super Saiyan God, I can let you understand the horror of Gods of Destruction. Beerus was obviously very angry. An ant like Vegeta dares to talk to himself like that, then this planet, and even this galaxy need not exist. Lord Beerus. Just when Beerus was about to get angry and deal with Vegeta, Whis suddenly spoke. What's the matter? Beerus asked without looking at Whis. Beerus, look to the right of Vegeta. Whis spoke again. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel so you are notified of future uploads. You can find the next parts in the playlist visible on the screen or on my channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.